lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From North Wilkesboro Speedway, the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series is ready to celebrate the best and the brightest of the fields. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where we are at one of the most hallowed grounds in all of NASCAR, a track that was once thought to be gone forever, but thanks to iRacing and the efforts of Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been resurrected like Christ himself on Sunday morning. We're here in All-Star Week, and we are ready to rock and roll with everything here in the SNN Cup Series. I'm Dave Regal alongside my freshly minted partner, Mr. Jordan Brockell, and we're going to be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, want to welcome everybody into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and especially here on All-Star Week, Mr. Jordan Brockell. Jordan, glad to have you with us.
It's wonderful to be here. It's always great to work with you, for one. And two, these guys are going to be going for their all-star race, and it's going to be no points on the line, just strictly, bragging rights. So it's going to be great to see these guys go all out put their cars where they usually wouldn't if the points were on the line. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers have a lot to prove, as far as getting through this race tonight. And, of course, as a few more drivers hop in here to the session, they'll be getting qualified. As Tane Hodison just wrapped up his time. He is running P13. As it stands right now, Dylan Banks driving the number 70. He's sitting atop the pile here. Now, the way this is going to work, folks, tonight, as we look from high above North Wilkesboro Speedway, is, of course, this first race is the quote-unquote All-Star Open. And during the Open, we'll be taking some of these drivers and moving them over to the feature, which, of course, will be a different screen. But, of course, you can keep it right here on Sim Racing Media. So the interesting thing about the way this will work is that we're going to have 100 laps here in the Open. They will throw a mystery surprise caution somewhere in and around lap number 50. We don't know if it's going to be lap 48, if it's going to be lap 55, but it will be in there somewhere around lap 50. Of course, they'll have 3 tire sets for that first event. We don't expect to have to need all of those tires, but you never know. Then when we go on to the All-Star race itself, that session, of course, going to be opening at our same normal time here on Sim Racing Media, and that race, my goodness, will be 200 laps. We will have the competition cautions at lap 100 and 150. Drivers will have 4 sets of tires for that. So it's going to be an interesting night for a lot of these drivers. Some of them are going to be turning 300 laps. Others are going to be, turning 200 laps. So all things considered, Jordan, there's a lot going on. 73 degrees in the stands just below the press box here on top of the grandstand. So nice and comfortable under the sun as we're under clear skies. But that sun has been beating down on the asphalt. 100 degrees there on the blacktop. What do you think that's going to do for these cars, Jordan?
You always expect to be a little bit more on the loose end when the track temp starts to get up there. You're going to slide around a little bit. These cars are a little bit more unstable, in my opinion, than, say, the Xfinity or the trucks as is anyway. So I expect to see these guys a little bit more on edge. We don't have the brand new repave here yet like they do in the IRL, but I expect them to have a little bit less grip than we would see, tonight on in the real All-Star race. But, ultimately, I think tires are going to be an absolute necessity tonight.
Yeah, short tracks are known for grinding tires up. And, in fact, while we're talking about all of this, let's get a hold of Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here in the SNN Cup Series, Mr. Chris Claude. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I do, Dave.
Well, here we are for All-Star Week yet again. Of course, now it thinks that I'm talking to Seba because somehow he just jumped up here. But here we are, All-Star Week once again. Take us through some of the way that this format's going to work and what we should be expecting to show the fans tonight.
Well, we have the open race to start everything out. Looks like we're going to have roughly 15 to 20 in this race, and there'll be a random, or not a random caution, but a caution around lap 50 halfway through the race just to settle everything down. And the results from this race will transfer over into the other race, and it'll be dependent on how many people are in the All-Star race to determine how many actually make it in from this race. I know in the real race there were only 3 people that made it in. There's a fan vote, and there were 2 others, but there'll be many more that will make it in just because we didn't have as many different winners as they had in real life. And then so we'll just need to have everyone that it has someone in this race that you're following, be sure and leave comments and support, and we'll tally that up at the end of this race, and that person will automatically be moved over into the All-Star race in addition to the top two finishers at a minimum.
Yeah, and just a reminder, folks at home, that we will be conducting a fan vote during the All-Star Open race. So let us know who your fan favorite is. Get in there now. Make it early. Who your favorite driver is once we get going green flag racing tonight here. That will help that driver, whoever you're pulling for, to be automatically transferred over into the All-Star race itself. from the Open. So, Chris, listen, it's been a busy season so far. As you mentioned, not a whole lot of different drivers, so more dominance from a certain number of drivers. What does that mean for a league like this who, you've got a long history here on iRacing over the last several years, and, you're just building on that every year? What does that mean for you when you get to see your baby get up and walk?
Well, it's been very rewarding for one thing. I think that the one thing that has really been evident this season is just the consistent participation between all three different series. We've had really full fields all the way through, and it's been great to see. I know that the All-Star race is a little bit of an outlier just because it's a non-points race. Some guys, may want to take a week off and recharge, knowing that it's not going to count for points. This is, just for fun and for bragging rights. But we've really seen and been able to continue that momentum, and that was a emphasis of mine going into this season, is having full fields throughout the entire season, and instead of some of the low turnouts that we've seen historically as the season really gets on, and just makes for better broadcast and better racing when we have more guys out there.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck tonight, as I know that you'll be out here. So, folks, if you want to, make sure that you comment there in the youtube.com live chat. The number 10, Chris Claude, of course, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here, my good friend. And, Chris, good luck tonight, and maybe we'll see you there in the feature race.
All right. Hope so, Dave.
Well, Jordan, now you've heard it directly from Chris how this is all going to work. In fact, we want to take a quick moment here, and we want to see if we can get a hold of some of these drivers that are floating around here. In fact, let's get a hold of Ken Ron. He's from down there in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, so not too far away from you, not too far away from me, out of the DGR Racing stable. Hey, Ken, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
I got you.
Well, listen, you're going to be representing the 717 tonight here in the All-Star Open race. We're trying to get you as many votes as you can. Tell us why fans should vote for you.
Because I'm an old man.
All right. Well, then you get the senior vote.
Yeah, I need the senior vote. I'm a little senile. I only know how to turn left, and I only know I have one pedal on the right. I don't know about the one in the middle.
Now, that one in the middle is really more trivial than anything. That doesn't matter.
Well, that's a good thing, because I don't like to use it.
How does the 33 feel tonight here as you get the Camaro ready to rock and roll?
Actually, it feels pretty good. As long as I don't get too hard into the gas coming off the corners, it has pretty good grip. And if I get in too early, of course, it's going to loop right around. But you just got to play with the gas pedal a little bit, and everything should be fine.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck. Hopefully you can get some votes here in the youtube.com live chat. Folks, that's the driver, the number 33, Ken Ron. Make sure that you send your votes in for the fan favorite tonight, and maybe you can get your favorite driver transferred over to the feature. Ken, thanks very much.
All right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, Jordan, it's going to be exciting. I'm curious to see who's going to be commenting to get their drivers moved over to the feature.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a couple of votes here already. One for Chris Davis and one for Chris Claude. So look forward to seeing some people to get in there and really, jump these numbers up. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun, and everybody needs a little help. I know I would be begging for a fan vote if I was in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be out here, that's for sure. They could never call me a fan favorite, if you will, back during my driving days. But speaking of fan favorites, I just saw him up in the chat, and I rarely get to talk to Seba Cortez. Let's see if we can real quick before we get rocking and rolling. Hey, Seba, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah. How are you?
Seba, listen, I know you and I have raced around each other the last several years. We don't get a chance to talk often enough, but, here we are in All-Star Week again. We're trying to see how many people can get some votes out there for the fan favorite vote. What should fans know about you tonight as far as getting you, into the All-Star race?
I don't know. That's a good question. Vote for me. I guess I don't know. I really don't know. That was a really good question. Yeah. I don't know, to be honest.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. I'll do a little bit of campaigning for you myself. Seba Cornez has been a member of this league for at least the last 3 years that I can speak of, and he's one heck of a driver. Seba, I know that you can boogie around these racetracks with the best of them. That's why you're here in All-Star Week. Folks, listen, at home, you're sitting there and you're watching, what you think is just a group of guys sitting around in gym shorts racing from, sim rigs in their bedrooms. But some of this is really, really tough racing, and Seba is one of the best out here. So, Seba, listen, good luck tonight, and maybe we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Seba, you are in which chat up here?
Four
wide.
Yeah, 4 wide.
All right, we'll get him on back up there. Well, Jordan, that might not have been a great campaign stop for Seba.
It's always hard campaigning. You really got to be on your toes when you're trying to campaign.
I thought I was talking to the President of the United States. That's how nervous he got.
I hear you on that one.
And there it is for the night. Here we go, getting ready to rock and roll after qualifying as we get ready for all of these drivers to grid up. 16 drivers scheduled to take the green flag. Noah Hamilton not in the car tonight yet, as Dylan Banks is going to get himself loaded up here. Dylan Banks going to sit here on the front row tonight, as we're just waiting for Michael Witt to slide in alongside of him. Michael Witt's going to be on the front row as well. There he is in the 88. That Gatorade throwback machine looks like Darrell Waltrip out here. The 29 of Tanner Marty going to be on the inside of row number 2, with Seba Cornez, who we just heard from, going to be on the outside of row number 2. Row 3 going to feature Chris Claude and Keith Long in the 71 out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. Another terrapin there for you, Jordan, as Richard Pruitt and Chad Sand are going to be in row number 4. Row 5 featuring Cody McCorkle and Eric Papineau, with Chris Davis and Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania in row number 6. Row 7 going to be Tane Hodison and Mark Johnston out of Newell, North Carolina, while Diego Rodriguez from Adrian, Michigan, going to have that Wolverines paint scheme ready to rock and roll for us here tonight as he represents the Wolverine State. 100 laps the scheduled distance. And I'll tell you what, I can't wait for this to finally get ready to go here as we work our way into turn number 3. Michael Witt and Dylan Banks on the front row. The iRacing.com pace car has dove. Oh, we're going to stay out for one more caution lap. See, got us all excited.
Yeah, I was ready to go right there too myself. Yeah, I guess they got to have a little bit of an extra time. Just that short track, I want everybody up and close and ready to go.
Dylan Banks with control of the field. He's got just behind him Tanner Marty, kind of waiting here in the wings in the TJM Chevrolet Camaro. 3 Chevrolets and 3 Toyotas in your top 6. A smattering of Fords, 3 of them at the back of the field, as the iRacing.com pace car dips on down pit road. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
You see the 88, they're already running wide, kind of getting stuck out there on the outside.
Yeah, it looks like if you get yourself hung out to the outside here, you're kind of screwed for a little while, as the 88 of Michael Witt looks for some kind of way to get here. He's going to wind up coming across. There it is, coming across the nose of the 59. He's got to get it reeled back in, as there were those balloons again. Folks, I don't know where they're coming from, but apparently there are balloons just floating around here on the infield.
That 88, he's really going to have to fight back, though. Getting stuck on that outside line, he's going to kind of get a little washed out. He finds himself back in line, already lost about 4 positions, back to the 6th spot. So he's not very, bad off right now, but he's really going to have to settle in here and get going.
The 17 just got sideways, just happened to catch this. Let's see what happened to him as we're going to go here just above from the blimp. Oh, there was Chris Claude getting punted out of the way. Then everybody checks up. Eric Papineau has to get out of the way, but fortunately everybody stays pointed forward, so we stay green flag racing here on lap number 5. That's always unfortunate when, you plan all of this out, you get yourself rocking and rolling, and, something stupid happens, as it looks like Chris Claude and Diego Rodriguez both coming down pit road. As Dylan Banks just set fast time again on the previous lap. Let's see if he can do it again as he hauls it out of 4 and crosses the start-finish line. He did. He really did. 19.11 seconds.
I mean, he's absolutely flying, gapping second place already by about 2 seconds now. He's already looking forward to this All-Star race, and he says, I don't know if I need this open.
I mean, when you're able to set the pace like that and set fast time 8 laps into your run, I mean, that means the tires are only just coming to life here. Is Tane Hodison going to haul it down pit road? Well, this is an interesting decision for a couple of these drivers. Chris Claude off and away. Diego Rodriguez, he sits here in the 69. Oh, my. That's kind of an interesting development. Whoa, Chris almost caught our leader. Hey. As we've got battles deeper into the field. Check this out here with Keith Long. Whoa! 3 wide!
Oh,
Jordan,
are they
going to
make it work?
Superman
are they going to make it work?
Sandwich. Ay,
oh, my Lord. Yeah, he has no patience right now. He says, I got to get up there and I got to go. I ain't got time to play around with none of this.
Oh, I've never held my breath like that. Did you just see... I don't know if this is an iRacing.com Easter egg. Did you just see a very large man taking a picture on the backstretch? I'm not even kidding.
I did not.
Wait till they come down here on the backstretch. He's going to be looking to the right. Where is he? Oh, there. Hold on.
I missed it. I ain't got the quick
Folks,
reflexes.
iRacing is really good with right there. There. There's a guy standing in the middle of the racetrack, folks. Look at him. Can you see it?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, my. Thanks, iRacing. Not sure why there's a man standing in the middle of the backstretch. But
I don't know.
Let's ride along here with Seba Cornez as he works his way up here. He's already running in 3rd position. I don't see the very large man with his camera anymore, so perhaps he went and had a seat. We found you.
That's a strange little blip there for sure.
But now let's ride along with Seba as he's still working just behind Tanner Marty in the 29. There's about 0.6 of a second between them, and I'll tell you what, he's still making good time here. I mean, he's only off by about 0.2 of a second from Dylan Banks. Dylan Banks is able to get closer. He's got a really good transition between 3 and turns 1 and 2. He really can stick that bottom.
Yeah, really wrapping the bottom, especially on this older surface. Like I said, we don't have that new repaved surface, like the IRL. So wrapping that bottom and having a really kind of straight fire off the corner is going to really give you a better out of corner speed, and you can carry that fully down the backstretch.
16 laps in the books here in the All-Star Open race. We're going to take a quick peek here, and it looks like Sean Rogers is voting for Chris Davis, Matt Mackin is voting for Chris Claude, and Nolan Hodgson's voting for Ken Ron. Folks, we need some tiebreakers here. I mean, geez, I'm cats. Listen, Sean, if your girlfriend Amanda Price is watching, who does she vote for? Nolan, I know that you've got a girlfriend. Who's she voting for? Matt Mackin, you're the only one that I'm not really sure of your relationship status, but I at least know that Sean's and Nolan's girlfriends usually watch us on a Sunday. So get those girls in here, get them voting, and let's make some movement here on the old needle for voting. There is no mail-in voting, and you don't need to show ID, but we may have to have a recount if you're from Florida.
I say if we have a tie, we should just put them all in.
Deal. Let's put 40 angry race car drivers in the Cup cars on this short track.
I mean, why not? I mean, that just sounds like a wonderful time.
I didn't realize recreational marijuana was legal in Maryland, but apparently you must be high as hell.
It is, actually. It is legal here.
Well, if you insist. Actually, I was through your fine state yesterday. Of course, I was moving a little bit more than 100 miles an hour on my way to our nation's capital. Amtrak on the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I would do 100 on 95 just to get through it quicker.
Yeah, just close your eyes and hope to get through the Beltway. Just be very careful going through Baltimore.
I mean, I live there, so I mean, I'm armed for it. I'm good.
Well,
I guess armed for it is not the word I should have used there, but I'm prepared for it, I should say.
the 78. Who in the world is being scored as the 78? Oh, here we go. Cody McCorkle. Loose as a goose here. No, we were on Amtrak yesterday and happened to come through Baltimore. And we did the BWI and New Carrollton stops on the way in.
Were you going to a Nats game by chance?
No, the Nats were actually here in
Ah.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, just some sightseeing. I wanted to go to the Capitol and just defecate in the bushes outside, but that was ill-advised.
Yeah, I don't know if the jail time is fully worth it for that, but I mean,
I feel like
not that long.
You know what? If you do that and they arrest you, at least your nickname in jail is going to be something cool, like Away or something.
The DC defecator.
Oh, the DC defecator. That's better than the DC sniper. That didn't work out real well for that guy.
Why does DC defecator sound like a terrible indie pro wrestler?
Or like a monster truck.
Oh God!
Bunch
Toilet
of batteries
shape
flying out of the exhaust. DC batteries.
you got me. I was just thinking of like a Capitol Hill shaped toilet or something.
Well, my dad is currently in Greece, and he sent me a picture of the Acropolis, big building over there in Athens. Fancy, old, so on and so forth. So I sent him a picture of the Capitol and said, if he's at the Acropolis, I'm at the Acropolis.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, see what I did? See, that's marketing. 6% of me is qualified to be a marketing specialist. And then we did here we go. Oh, he caused another tie. Son of a crap. Amanda Price came in and voted for Chris Davis. That's Sean Rogers' girlfriend, and Callie voted for Ken Ron. Which is Nolan's girlfriend. This didn't help.
Hey, they're just giving us an exciting battle here,
Somebody needs to. I mean, listen. At this point, that means 2 votes for Chris Davis, 2 votes for Ken Ron, 1 vote for Chris Claude. Hey, I got to get somebody to vote. We got to start, churning these things up here. Scott Hodgson just voted for Ken Ron. We got a leader here. Ken Ron is already leading now by 1 vote.
Does it count? Does it count? Because he said coat.
This is not the federal government. We understood. I mean, it could be the federal government. I've got just as many brain cells.
I mean, they're listening probably, so.
I hope they are. I hope I'm on a government watch list. I hope I'm on a government watch list just so that they can say, oh, what were you doing online? Oh, just watching the virtual cars again. A little bit of contact there between the 78 and the 74. Hey, Chris Davis out here trying to battle his way up. He's up 2 positions, running in 10th position right now. As he's just kind of hanging out watching the 71 and the 78 kind of fight one another. He's trying to keep the 74 clean, and as I say that, he almost considered going 3 wide.
Yeah, he was almost going to pull that Superman move. Oh, the 71 coming to the 78.
Oh, the question here for Chris Davis is, do you check up and let them wreck, or do you try to get by them before they wreck?
I feel like at a place like North Wilkesboro, I want to get around them as quickly as possible, especially with Dylan Banks on my ass.
They just hung Keith Long out to dry, and all of a sudden Chris Davis just goes, he shoots his way from 10th to 8th right now. So that battle all broken up. We see Seba Cornez up here as he's still trying to duke it out with Tanner Marty, as they are now side by side. Tanner Marty now working the low side. He was able to get underneath Seba. So these setups must be getting tight later in the race because Seba cannot get to the bottom to save his soul right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine that, if you push too hard, you're going to wear out that right front, which is just going to end up making you plow even worse and make that right front tire even worse, and it's just going to be a bear to turn.
37 laps in the books. Dylan Banks still your race leader. He's had control of this the entire time. Chad Sanner, who started in 8th position back in the 4th row, he's up here 6 positions. So he has really fought his way through here as he currently runs P2 behind Dylan Banks as and Scott. Oh, Callie H. Nolan's mom. Callie H. is Nolan's mom, not his girlfriend. I thought that was the other way around all season long. To be fair, nobody has the driver info on the people commenting in the YouTube.com live chat. So I've just been guessing.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Mo was right. Mo problems. Taking a look here at the 94 of Chad Sanner. Another fellow print. Oh, Paul Gallimore just voted Chris Davis. Oh, we're hot and heavy. Don't tell Al Gore, but we may need to have a recount.
Yeah, it looks like we got a new leader. Not on the track, but in the votes.
Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 for Chris Davis. 3 for Ken Ron. And 1 for Chris Claude. Come on, folks. Nobody loves Chris Claude. Nobody loves Chris Claude. Everybody loves Chris Claude. I can't vote.
Come on, man. Chris Claude Van Dam.
I've never used that one before. Huh. Well, that makes
Yahtzee.
it fun. Oh, bingo. Yahtzee. Survey says Claude. Dylan Banks here leads the way just ahead of Chad Sanner. We've had a couple of folks down pit road now as Tane Hoddison, Chris Claude, and Diego Rodriguez were all down. Looks like there's just 6 cars left on the lead lap as Dylan Banks has just been running a clinic. Richard Pruitt here in the 24 about to be the next victim to go a lap down. Superman may be faster than a speeding bullet, but right now he's not faster than Dylan Banks. Pruitt just ran a 20:52 and Banks ran a 20:24.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. He's on his own planet. I mean, Chris Sanner, he made a march through the field, but he's still losing a little bit of time here and there to Banks.
Yeah, in fact, let's quick pull up the old battle box here if I can. I'm pushing the button. It won't even pull up a battle box for Dylan Banks.
He's in another zip code,
There we go. I had to force it. Dylan Banks here. If we go right here to the relative, Chad Sanner. It's showing, no, that's supposed to be relative lap. There it is. Chad Sanner this is not helpful. What on God's green earth? This is not helpful.
But yeah, I mean, Dylan Banks, class of the field here tonight, looking, he's probably trying to go for the entire field lapping if he can get there. I mean, we're going to have that caution, somewhere around lap 50, so he's not going to make it this way around, but depending on what those guys behind him, do, they're going to be found a lap down if, they come down and get tires or anything like that, so it's going to be interesting to see what some of these guys try to do. Some guys maybe try to stay out, get the wave around, try to play that game, but I mean, time will tell for sure.
So I was just down there trying to mess with the battle box, and basically Dylan Banks is so far ahead right now from Chad Sanner that the battle box didn't want to do its job. So we had to go here to the lap time delta, and Chad Sanner has been consistently 2 3/10 slower than Dylan Banks this entire time. So we may see, as we now have reached lap number 50, of course, we're going to see that competition caution, so we should see Richard Pruitt get the lucky dog. There it is, here on lap number 51, the caution. But so we should see Richard Pruitt get a lap back. That'll be fine for him. And that'll put 6 cars back on the lead lap. The thing is, how much of a swing can you make at your setup to try to change things? Of course, we're here in an open setup league. Dylan Banks just dove down pit road, and I almost feel like this is bad. I don't think the caution was out long enough for pit road to be open.
Seba and Michael Witt come down as well.
This is interesting. Sander and Marty stayed out. I really don't think pit road was open just then.
No, and unfortunately we don't have those lights to tell us. But yeah, I think they pitted early.
Well, here'd be something interesting. If they have to pit early, can Chris Davis come all the way back? Or, I mean, yeah, can Dylan Banks come all the way back, lap the field, get his lap back, and then still win this race?
Yeah, I mean, is it a full lap? I thought it was a tail end. It might actually be a full lap penalty, but you know, it's going to be interesting. He's definitely on rails and he's definitely flying, so I wouldn't underestimate it completely, but it's going to be interesting.
Nope, Dylan Banks is now rescored as your race leader. It's going to be Dylan, Seba, Michael Witt, Richard Pruitt. He's going to run P4. Now, Pruitt didn't come down pit road. Tanner Marty, Cody McCorkle, Eric Papineau. We're going to have to wait till everything gets re-racked here.
Yeah, I think those two decided to stay out and you know, get the lap back with the wave around. But I mean,
more voters here. Chris Davis is all of a sudden the fan favorite by a lot, as it looks like Redneck 13, Paul Gallimore, Alonzo King. And apparently nobody likes Paul Gallimore, which is weird because they voted for the same person. Diego Rodriguez voted for Tane Hodgson, as well as Bonsai Buddy. Can I interest anybody in giving a fan vote to Chris Claude? He's got one.
I mean, it's free.
Yeah, nobody's charging anything. Believe me, we don't make enough money to be handing money out.
Who wants to vote for an old, washed-up Orioles player?
I mean, if you're going to go there, I hope it's not that Chris Davis. That'd be awkward.
It would be awkward.
We had 2 Chris Davises in baseball at the same time. One was a pitcher and one was an outfielder. I remember years and years ago in a fantasy baseball draft, somebody going, selecting Chris Davis, and I forget where he played at the time.
They got the wrong one.
Yeah. It was a total freaking disaster.
Yikes.
There were 2. Chris Davis the pitcher, Chris Davis the outfielder.
I mean, that's kind of like how it is at my house. You know, you got me, Jordan, and then my wife, Jordan.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I wish I was kidding, because it's sometimes it's a little weird. But we see that ace car make a hard left turn. They're back under green. Dylan Banks with a large gap already going into turn 1.
Dylan Banks had the jump. Alonzo King voting for you and I here in the broadcast booth. So now we've got a couple of votes. You know what? Out of all the times that I ran this race, nobody ever voted for me. I had to come up in the broadcast booth to get a vote.
Hey, I'll slap the steering wheel on right now. I won't last long, but I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what she said. Seba Cornez running P2 right now, already almost 0.6 of a second behind Dylan Banks, but Michael Witt looks to nose in here in that 88 Darrell Waltrip paint scheme. I'll tell you what, I love me some DW, and this paint scheme right here just looks fantastic.
I took a peek over at the comments and I got thrown off. Bonsai Buddy said, old washed up Orioles player, 0 for 54 was bad enough. bad enough for him. Let's leave him alone. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it definitely caught me off guard.
Well, he's not wrong. Just let the poor man be. As we're here on lap number 60.
Like that old Britney Spears meme. Leave Britney alone.
That's what she wanted. That's what she got.
Oh, boy. Dylan Banks already out to a second and a half lead, and I mean we've only been back under caution for under green for a handful of laps.
Yeah, Dylan Banks is running an absolute clinic of how to get around North Wilkesboro, and I mean I can't imagine that using your GPS to get through the town of North Wilkesboro is very difficult, but he's showing you how to get here and boogie around this track. Chris Davis just registering as going off track. Let's see what happened here. We're going to watch here in the 74 as he's just behind Tanner Marty. And Chris Davis goes a little wide and whoa! Does a little bit of landscaping here on the back chute.
I feel like gave him a little bit of a jinx there, making fun of Chris Davis from the Orioles.
Well, I mean, 0 for 54. What do you want? And Sean Rogers said he's probably still cashing those checks. No, he's not Bobby Bonilla. I think this year coming up is the last year for Bobby Bonilla Day. I think 2025 is the last Bobby Bonilla Day.
Yeah, but we're going to have a new Bobby Bonilla when when Shohei decides to retire.
Oh, good Lord. I feel like Shohei and Bryce Harper and Fernando Tatis are all going to be those guys.
Oh, 100%.
But Bobby Bonilla did it the right way. They backloaded the hell out of that contract, knowing that he was never going to play into 2025.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, that's basically what Shohei's doing. You know, he could. I mean, he's not even pitching this year, I believe, right? He's just DHing with the Tommy John surgery. I believe it was Tommy John surgery. So, I mean, he's not even going to pitch till next year. And who knows? He could blow that thing out again next year. And, you know, he's going to still get paid. You know, not as much until I think it was like 2030 something or some odd, like 2035 or something.
Yeah.
Is when it picks up to the full 70 or 700 million or whatever it is.
And believe me, he's going to need the financial assistance when he gets there if he keeps gambling the way that he allegedly does.
You know, I gotta say, I think it's a record. You know, the first race we did together, I think you broke me once. I keep getting broke here all night long.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to entertain and inform. Matt Mackin here with the quick facts from Baseball Reference. Matt Campbell voting for Chris Davis. And apparently Alonzo King says nobody likes baseball. I have news for you, sir. Dylan Banks leads the way here. 0.3 of a second between Tanner Marty and Chad Sanner. And, you know, here's the thing with Sanner. Now, he's another driver that I can't believe doesn't get more votes as the Smithfield, PA native wheels his Ford Mustang Dark Horse around this racetrack. Chad Sanner has been in this league longer than me, and I don't understand why he hasn't had more success in this league. He's an incredibly competitive driver. He doesn't make mistakes very often. He usually gets wrapped up in other people's BS. So make sure that you folks are considering voting for Chad Sanner as well out of Smithfield, PA.
Yeah, and a gorgeous car here as well. The nice little GoPro with the nice black and blue. It's a sharp-looking ride.
He did win the 2021 SNN Daytona 250, and I'll tell you what, that year, if you go back into our archives here on SNN, watch that race in about the last 10 laps. That was such an incredible race that year.
Oh, I don't even doubt it. I mean, Daytona is always a fun race to watch. No matter what car, what league, or you name it, it's always entertaining towards the end of it, and you know everybody trying to make those slice and dice moves, trying to get themselves in position. That's always a great race.
Well, and so far this has been an incredible race for some of these drivers. Not so much though, if you're falling back the way that you have. Big mover on the plus side tonight is Chad Sanner driving the number 94. Dylan Banks has had control of the field this entire time, and Chad Sander gets ready to strap the hairnet on and serve lunch to Michael Witt as he looks to the inside now. Peeks there, leaves Witt alone. Now Witt's trying to get around Eric Papineau, and now the two of them are going to have to get around the Liberty 17. So they're going to have to kind of tiptoe through the tulips to get around Eric. Now, if Eric bleeds off that position and lets them get a good run, we're going to see another battle make its appearance. 25 to go here in this first race. We're going to step aside and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Jordan Brockell, and this is the SNN All-Star Open.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Oh boy.
Welcome back to North Wilkesboro Speedway. We're 11 laps to go here as Dylan Banks leads the way. Dave Regal and Jordan Brockell with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Seba Cornez 6.6 seconds behind him. Jordan, I don't think this is going to be anybody's race but Dylan Banks.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's got anything for Dylan Banks. And, I mean, he's just the class of the field for this. And, I mean, he's just managing the gap at this point. He's pulling away, but he's still just kind of managing it, saving everything, and, you know, doesn't really have to push hard. He's not putting himself at danger by sliding through a corner or anything like that. He's just kind of managing the gap and pushing when he needs to get a little bit of a gap for his comfort, and just kind of running away.
Some more votes here. Great commercial. Can we see the race? Yeah, thanks, Ryko. Appreciate it. We brought you right back. Dylan Banks leading the way. Seba Cornez goes P2. The race is kind of... Oh, and we have another vote from Ryko. Voting for Chris Davis. So I'm going to say that Chris Davis is going to be our winner far and away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's ran away with the fan vote, just like Dylan Banks is running away with this race.
Seven laps to go while Dylan Banks leads here. Chad Sander trying to close in here on the rear of Seba Cornez. They're working their way around Mark Johnson in the 80 RC Cola machine. I thought maybe we'd see a few, extra, throwback paint schemes tonight just because we're here at North Wilkesboro. And, we're going to get into this during the second race, during the feature race, if you will. And, here's the thing. This racetrack was basically dead. And thanks to iRacing and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a consortium of, other race fans and people with money, let's just be honest here, call a spade, it was fortunate that they were able to, revive this race and resurrect it.
Yeah, and it's always awesome seeing these older tracks just because it brings the nostalgia factor, but then it also kind of touches back with the history of the sport and, what got the sport going and to begin with. So, I love going back to the tracks that have, kind of become dead. And I really hope to see some more like, Rockingham or, I know I'd like to see Chicagoland again. It's not that old and that retired, but I would love to see that again. Unfortunately, we'll never see Auto Club again because it is currently in ruins, but,
that one they did well. The popsicle sticks go in the air, and we are 2 laps to go here. Dylan Banks leads the way, as I'm sure we'll get a chance to touch on defunct racetracks in the second race. Seba Cornez running P2. Chad Sander in third. He's starting to fade away from Dylan Banks. As Dylan Banks rolls out of turn 4, he works just underneath Chris Claude. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Dylan Banks has led every lap of this race from the moment we said the word go. And, I hope that he's able to compete against the other drivers in the other all-star race when we get to the feature. But Dylan Banks crosses the start-finish line and wins the 2024 SNN All-Star Open.
Yeah, an absolutely commanding win. He left no doubt that he was going to transfer in. He has no wonder, no thought process he has to go through. He's in and going to be racing for all the bragging rights.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk to Dylan Banks in just a moment here. Seba Cornez and Chad Sander. And then, of course, Chris is in the race anyways. Would the second place votes get it if yeah. But regardless, Chris Davis far and away is our fan favorite vote, so he will make the automatic transfer over to the All-Star race itself. Right now, we want to get a hold of Dylan Banks. As there he goes, dropping on down. We'll get Seba down there into our waiting room, and Chad Sander. And with us now is Dylan Banks, winner of the All-Star Open. Hey, Dylan, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
Buddy, listen, you just ran a clinic. Tell us how you just boogied around this thing like that for 100 laps.
Well, first of all, I gotta give a huge shout out to EPI, raceepi.com. Donovan Strauss builds the A-car sets. He does a wonderful job week in and week out. So all props to him. I'm just the driver behind the car.
Yeah, I mean, the way that you were able to wrap the bottom of these turns, I mean, we saw it, over and over and over again. And, you lapped darn near the entire field. You only left 5 on the plate for the lead lap. I mean, now that we're getting ready to go over to the regular All-Star race, now that the Open is concluded, what's going to be your strategy? I mean, stage breaks at 100 and 150, so 200 laps over there. What are you thinking about as now you're going to be going up against the best and strongest in this league?
Yeah. It's a longer race. I'm just gonna try to translate what I did in this race over there. Depends on the track temp and the weather and all. It could be different. That could change a lot of things around. But yeah, I think it's all about track position. Honestly, you get out in front with that clean air, you can kind of run away with it. And I felt at home tonight. It felt great. The set felt great. The car felt great. Yeah, honestly, I really think it's about track position here. It's so hard to pass here. I mean, you can kind of save your tires, and kind of manage it at the end. But if you get that track position, you're out front with that clean air. I think it's unbeatable.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations once again on the win here in the All-Star Open. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done on the 70 machine besides EPI?
Well, EPI, as always, got to shout out the guys at DGR, Ken Ron, Tanner Marty, Alex, all of them guys. They put in the work week in and week out. Very consistent guys. I also got to thank Dalton. He's helped me a lot. Shout out y'all. Y'all do a great job week in and week out in the broadcast booth. Can't thank y'all enough for doing this week in and week out with us, bearing with us every week. Shout out all the viewers. Gotta shout out them. I know they're probably doing a fan vote. I don't know who it's going to yet, but thank the viewers. Wouldn't be nothing without y'all.
All right, my man. Well, listen, thank you. Good luck, and we'll see you in a little bit here when we go to the All-Star race.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And, of course, it's always cool when we get to hear from people that we don't get to hear from all the time. And right now, Jordan, I believe that you do have Seba Cornez with you here in the broadcast booth.
Hey, Seba, you got the boys in the booth?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you. So, we saw that, Dylan Banks kind of ran away a little bit and kind of had one up on everybody to, in this Open. You got any ideas there that you could possibly swing for setup and you think you got it under control?
I mean, Dylan, he's part of our group, so I mean, we're running the same stuff. So I mean, he's an ace, everywhere you put it. So it's just a matter of just having a good finish behind him. But he's gonna be hard to beat tonight.
Yeah, he definitely showed some strengths. Trying to manage the tires and everything like that. At such an old track, does it really kind of leave you rather quickly, or are you able to really manage it a lot better than say like a Martinsville or a Bristol?
I mean, tire wear doesn't seem that bad. You got to be careful with throttling out of the corners. That's where it'll get you. It drives like a Martinsville type racetrack. And I'll be honest, I only bought the track 45 minutes before the session started. So, so far so good. In my experience so far.
sounds like me back in the early days of iRacing, buying the track right before the race and just running laps, trying to figure it out as best you can and learning through the race. Before we let you go, anybody you want to shout out?
Shout out everyone at Four Wide Motorsports, Dangerous Goods. Obviously Dylan with the unbeatable car, and we all had a good finish in this All-Star Open. So thank you to them for always giving us fast cars every Sunday.
Well, congratulations on the P2, and look forward to seeing you a little bit later.
Thank you, Jordan. As we're going to get Chad Santa, we're going to do this in short order as the session is coming to a quick end here. Hey, Chad, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Dave?
Listen, I'm good. You got the 94 down here into P3. Real quick, what are you thinking is, I believe you're automatically going to be transferred over then?
Yeah, I guess just have some fun. That's all.
All right, man. Listen, before we move over there, who do you need to thank and who do you need to shout out for this run here in the Open?
Just my teammates, Matt Gaskins, the owner of Four Wide, and Nolan, Seba, and Matt, just for being a good team all year.
All right, my man. Listen, congratulations, and we will see you in a few short minutes.
Thanks, Dave. Have a good night, man.
And last but certainly not least, I want to get to our... Oh, geez, I'm cats now. I've got the wrong window open over here. I don't need Xbox that badly. As we're going to get right a hold of our fan vote winner, Chris Davis, driver of the number 74. Hey, Chris, you got us.
Yes, sir.
Well, you had a huge cheering section in the YouTube.com live chat, and Koshkonong, Missouri is now sending you to the All-Star race. How does that feel?
Pretty good. You know, I gotta thank all the Beast Mode Performance guys. They got on there and voted for me. I didn't put on a very good performance in that race, but hopefully this one will go a little bit better, make a few changes to the car, see if I can keep up with these guys.
All right, my man. Well, listen, we got to keep this short because we've got to get switched over there. But congratulations on the win of the fan vote. Who do you need to thank for this transfer?
Beast Mode Performance. They good group of guys at Ryko Performance and all those guys that voted for me. I appreciate it.
All right, my man. Listen, congratulations. We will see you over in the All-Star race. Good luck, and good luck. Go with God. Don't take any wooden nickels.
I appreciate it, guys.
Well, Jordan, so ends the Open race. We're going to step aside, folks, and basically we're going to go to an extended commercial break here as we get everything ready to rock and roll for the second race. So stay right here on Sim Racing Media. We'll be right back. Dave Regal and Jordan Brockel with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in and making us a part of your evening right here on SRM.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
So hi, my name's Christy. I am a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. As like during the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't sit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that. So the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Care. It has motivated us from day one. It's in the meals we make, the hugs we give, and the miles we've traveled. We care for families so they can care for theirs. From our staff and volunteers who provide it every day, to our donors and partners who make it all possible, to the families who've made lifelong connections. Together, we've created a global community of care, one that provides emotional, mental, and financial support for families and their children. And all this care has turned dogs into best friends, long nights into brighter days, moments into milestones, strangers into family. We've built a lot at RMHC. More smiles, more hope, more care. And we plan to build even more. Join us as we celebrate 50 years of RMHC.
lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From North Wilkesboro Speedway, the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series is finally ready to go all-star racing here at one of our sport's most hallowed grounds. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Dave Riegel and Jordan Brockell with you. Thank you for joining us. If you're moving over from the All-Star Open race, we have stayed right here on Sim Racing Media, so don't change a thing. But I'll tell you what has changed. The race conditions, some of the driver names, and of course the competition has been cranked up to crazy. 200 laps the scheduled distance tonight for everybody here. So we're very excited to see all of you tuning in tonight on YouTube.com. Jordan Brockell and Dave Riegel with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Jordan, we had a crazy, awesome race just a few moments ago. Tuning in now to the actual All-Star race itself, I'm excited, but the conditions have changed a little drastically, if you ask me.
Yeah, it looks a little warmer, I believe. 117. I definitely think. Or no, we're actually cooler. It was 78 in the Open, 71 here now, so a little bit cooler. I think they'll have a little bit more grip, but not a ton more. So I look for them to still kind of be sliding around off corner and really have to be a little treacherous around those off corners, and especially if you're trying to get a run on the outside. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can lay down and see if anyone's got that same kind of pace to keep up with Dylan Banks.
Yeah, Dylan Banks ran an absolute clinic, and he's already gone fast time already with an 18.77 second lap. Track temperature up to 117 degrees here now that we're here at the actual race itself. And I'll tell you what, that 117 kind of makes me a little nervous. That's going to loosen up the racetrack. We had 101 when we went green flag racing a little while ago. 117 now. We talked with Dylan Banks. We're going to talk one more time here with Chris Davis, as we didn't get a whole lot of time. He definitely won the fan vote a few moments ago. In fact, let's get a hold of Chris Davis. Hey, Chris, it's Dave and Jordan up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Buddy, I feel like we didn't get enough time to talk earlier, as we were just trying to get out of that session and load into this one. But here you are from Koshkonong, Missouri, and the fan favorite to be transferred over into the All-Star race.
Yes. it's pretty amazing.
Look, I mean, at least you're someone's favorite for something. You know, it could have been worse.
You know, if there would have been another BMP driver in that, I probably wouldn't have made it. But no, thankfully for the team that I'm on, they're all great guys. They all jump on just to help me and Sean along. So I can't say enough for those guys and all the help and work they put into these setups. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, you're about to go 200 laps. What's going to be your strategy here moving forward tonight?
Really just take it easy on the beginning. I don't have a whole lot of laps on this track this week, so it's all relatively new to me. And there's twice in that first race that I tried to push it a little too soon before the tires were ready and got loose off of 2. Took a trip through the grass, so I'm going to hopefully not do that this time and put on a better show.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck tonight as you get ready to rock and roll here at North Wilkesboro. I'm sure that you're going to put on quite a show for all of those folks that voted for you to be here. So congratulations on being the fan favorite, and we will catch up with you shortly.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, guys.
Going to move him back on up here into CSS. And the next thing that I really want to touch base with here, or the next person I want to touch base with here before we run out of time, is going to be Sean Rogers, driver the number 44. Hey, Sean, it's Dave and Jordan up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Yeah, I got you guys. How's it going?
Buddy, listen, it's going good for us. But first off, we want to tip our cap to you because, I mean, without, you and Amanda starting this whole ball rolling, Chris Davis might not be here tonight.
Yeah, I went into our BMT chat. I posted the link and said everybody jump in, give them a vote. So it's good to see, us taking care of teammates. That's what we do over here at BMP, support each other. So, yeah, it's cool to get them in.
Yeah, teammates, supporting teammates is what this sport is all about now. It looks like so far you've qualified P3. Doesn't look like Diego or Ken are going to go out and make a run here under qualifying conditions. So what's going to be the strategy? I know I say yours and Nolan's name together almost all the time, every Sunday night. So what's going to be the strategy with 200 laps ahead of you here?
I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. Track's really hot, very slick in practice. And I've watched the whole race. I've seen Dylan. Dylan looked pretty quick, so we're gonna try to chase him down tonight. But yeah, just keep it out of trouble and have fun. There's no points, just out here, just hopefully put on a show for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing, at least for me up here in the broadcast booth. Usually I've got to go through and do everybody's points and try to come up with storylines for each race. But tonight, even I get to kind of let my hair down a little bit and relax and just watch a race and enjoy it, rather than thinking about, oh my, what does this do to his point standings? What does this do for this? Everybody's kind of relaxed, so to speak. And to be here at North Wilkesboro, I mean, is a really cool experience in and of itself, because a few years ago, this racetrack was only existing, as ruins and iRacing. And, now it's been rehabilitated, revived, and wow, what a cool place.
Yeah, it's awesome what Dale Jr. and his group were able to kind of revive this first through iRacing, and then to make the video game come to life and revitalize the track. So that's awesome that they were able to do it. I was a little too young to ever have watched a race here, so I didn't really know a ton about it. But yeah, it's a fun track. It's definitely tough. It's unique in how it's downhill in the front stretch, uphill on the back. So you got to factor that in. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck tonight. Jordan and I will be watching you from up here in the broadcast booth. We appreciate your time.
Sounds good, man.
All right. That, of course, Kalamazoo, Michigan's very own Sean Rogers, driver the number 44 Chevrolet Camaro. And Jordan, listen, as we get ready to roll here, I cannot stress enough how cool it is to not have to worry about, the other underlying stories that usually come with every race.
Yeah, and I mean, I wish I could watch this on a weekly basis and cover this with you. And, I like how you can kind of just chill out, not really any major storylines. I mean, there are some things that might carry over from the season and everything like that. And it's interesting to see how that unfolds here.
Yeah, absolutely. And as things unfold tonight, we just want to thank everybody for tuning in, welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Welcome. And thank you for hanging out with us as we get ready for the warm-up session to begin. We'll take a quick peek here at our qualifying results from just moments ago. Dylan Banks, once again, after running a clinic during the open race, has now decided to clinch the pole position in this race. Nolan Hodgson's going to be starting alongside of him. Sean Rogers, Michael Witt, Chad Sander, Tanner Marty, Keith Long, Chris Davis, Seba Cornez, and Richard Pruitt, your top 10. Tane Hodison, Eric Papineau, Chris Claude, Mark Johnston, Michael Caffrey, Ken Ron, and Diego Rodriguez, all out here qualifying, as Ron and Rodriguez both did not set qualifying times, so not sure if we're going to see them take the green flag or not. So, here's the thing. And look, I don't know if you can see it, but there are green balloons in the middle of the racetrack again.
I cannot see them on my screen.
I don't understand this. I think it's wild that I can and you can't.
Is our man back on the backstretch? Do you know?
Let's see. This will be fun. We're going to ride along with Dylan Banks and see if we see this guy again. Nope, not this lap. Let's see if he moved maybe to the front stretch. Kind of an interesting thought, though, as Dylan Banks just went 18.77 seconds. And, of course, whoa, that's not good for anybody, as Eric Papineau gets a little sideways, and Dylan Banks just took a race car to the face.
Yeah, and that's something that they are going to have to worry about later on in this race. As tires wear out, different strategies, people on fresh tires, people on older tires. Something that simple like that happening during a race, and unintentionally taking someone out, and possibly even the leader, as you see the 94 coming off corner there a little loose as well.
But there's one thing that I'll always say about Chad Sander, and not just because he's a Pennsylvanian, but because he's one of these drivers that no matter how loose that race car gets, I rarely see him lose control of the race car. Something has already... I've seen stuff happen around him. I mean, look at him. He's wobbling down the backstretch, still managing to set second fastest time here in the warm-up session. I mean, he's one of these drivers that the car is never, quote-unquote, out of control for him.
Yeah, and I mean, it just shows the skill level of that Chad Sander has. Is he knows how to drive this car. It's one thing to get in it and log laps, but to actually know how to drive it is a completely different story.
Well, about 2.5 minutes left here in our warm-up session. We want to see if we can step in here with Nolan Hodgson. I don't get a chance enough to talk to Nolan, except for when he hits the podium. Hey, Nolan, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me.
I got you.
Hey, man, listen, good run tonight, as I know that y'all were there getting everybody to vote in the fan vote. What did you see from the first race, and what are you going to be translating for here in the second?
Well, there was a lot of slipping and sliding in that first race. I had the privilege of watching it instead of actually having to race it. A lot of slip and sliding. The track temp's a little cooler now than it was in the open, but not that much cooler, in my opinion. A lot of clean racing, a lot of give and take. I really like to see that. Hopefully that continues in this all-star race. Just gotta save tires, save your stuff, and try to be there at the end. Really.
Yeah, being there at the end is always important. We know that in this league, or really in any kind of race here on the iRacing.com servers. I mean, Dylan Banks was able to hit that clean air. Now, as we take a quick peek once again at our qualifying results, it looks like you're going to be hitting P2. Are you going to try to just dart in front of Dylan, or maybe the two of you work together for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too crazy about trying to get around him right away. The beginning of the run in these cars is just as treacherous as if you're, wearing your right rear, spinning, coming out of the corner. So I'll just take it really easy. If he happens to come back to me, on the longer run, and I happen to get past him, then cool. But I mean, there's not any points paid out for any of the, the all-star cautions. So the only thing that really matters is the last lap, and hopefully I am the one in the lead at that point.
All right, my man. Well, listen, once again, thank you for getting everybody involved there in the youtube.com live chat earlier. I appreciate that. Of course, that keeps things interesting for us. Before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you need to thank for getting you here to the All-Star race tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank the sponsors, Zero FG, Grayson Racing, and 1-8 Media. Thank the 4-wide guys. They're always behind me. EPI guys for the great setups every week. And my parents, grandparents that are watching right now. And that's about it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, as we're going to get Nolan back on up into the 4-wide Motorsports stable, as it looks like he may have to make a couple of quick adjustments as he hops out of the car and back into the car. And we're going to get ready to go through our starting lineup tonight, Jordan. Dylan Banks is going to sit on the pole position tonight. Nolan Hodgson sits to his outside on row number 1. Row 2 is featuring Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Michael Witt from Bristol, Tennessee. Chad Sanner has the 94 from Smithfield, Pennsylvania, along with Tanner Marty from Duvall, Washington in row 3. Row 4 features Keith Long from Gaithersburg, Maryland, and Chris Davis, our fan favorite from Koshkonong, Missouri. Row 5, and rounding out your starting top 10 is Seba Cornez and Richard Pruitt from Sanford, North Carolina. Row 6 is Tane Hodison and Eric Papineau, while Mark Johnston and Chris Claude, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here from Fairview, Tennessee, starts in row 7. Row 8, and rounding out the rest of the field, Ken Rana and Michael Caffrey starting shotgun tonight. So 16 drivers going to take the green flag when it flies. I'll tell you what, this has been an exciting night for me, and I know that it has for you as well, Jordan, because, I mean, who wouldn't be excited to sit along Dave Regal?
I mean, it's a great time to sit along you. You know, it's always fun. It's always interesting, and you know, it's more of a trick to where you got to try to keep yourself from laughing so freaking hard.
That's my job. Got to keep it interesting. As I see a couple of drivers with some connection issues, hopefully they get those resolved. Fortunately, we know that it's not us anymore. That's a good thing. As the iRacing.com pace car leads us around here, getting ready for the start of this race with Nolan Hodgson and Dylan Banks on row.
Yeah, and that's a gorgeous number 12 car, in my opinion. I'm a little biased because of Justin Allgaier, but man, that makes that look pretty.
It sure does. As the iRacing.com pace car lead, there's our man on the back stretch. For some reason, there he is standing around again. The iRacing.com pace car leads us into turns 3 and 4. The only thing that's left to do, folks, is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
You see Dylan Banks already kind of getting a lead there, but Nolan Hodgson's really kind of pulling him in. That's a little different than what we saw in the Open. You know, Dylan Banks was able to just kind of fly away like a free bird.
Yeah, riding along here with Sean Rogers in the 44, he's watching Hodgson and Banks, and I think that this is one of the interesting things here. After what we saw Dylan Banks do during the Open race, he's all of a sudden got names like Nolan Hodgson and Sean Rogers behind him, so he suddenly is going to have a level of competition that he didn't experience during that first race.
Yeah, and I mean, Hodgson's is pretty much wearing out that rear bumper. He's a little off of him right now, but definitely a lot closer and a lot more competitive than he had to deal with in that Open.
Taking a look here at Dylan Banks, he just went fastest now with 18:89 as he leads Nolan Hodgson. There's that weird man in the back on the back stretch. I don't know how to get rid of him. He's just there.
It's not there on my screen, which is even weirder.
There are green balloons on the front stretch and a strange man standing here on the back stretch as we ride along with Nolan Hodgson trying to chase down Dylan Banks. Now he's gone. It's like he's there every couple of laps. It's like he ran away quick to go get a hot dog, and he'll be right on back. As Dylan Banks takes the number 70 here, he runs all the way up while Chad Sanner is getting ready to go after Michael Witt. We ride along here with Sanner out of Smithfield, Pennsylvania. And my goodness, look at the way he's trying to get down here. He's waiting for those tires to come up to temperature. We're only 7 laps in the books now. It took about 8 laps before on fresh tires for, things to come to full temperature. So right now we're working our way toward lap number 1. Whoa, there goes the 88 with the rear end splitting out on him.
Yeah, and something that I would think about is try not to push this car too soon, too quickly, and really kind of get those tires worked up, quicker than they themselves want to. Kind of just ease back, kind of run your line, be a little bit smooth, and let those come up to temp, regularly. Don't want to slide those tires while they're still cold, and you don't want to wear out a set of tires before you even get a chance to use them.
No, that's absolutely true. You don't want to lose it before you use it, that's for sure. As we look here at Seba Cornez, and Seba chases down Tanner Marty in the 29. And now Seba's going to work on the underside of Tanner as we pass the first Union flag. I'll tell you what, it's always interesting to see at some of these throwback racetracks the logos and the sponsors that we see. Of course, the NASCAR Winston Cup, it just says NASCAR Cup Series, but it's still the Winston font there. The Holly Farms, Lowe's, before Lowe's was a juggernaut. And, of course, First Union Bank. I mean, once upon a time, First Union was a juggernaut of its own.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because, I just recently inherited a collection of just, old cars and NASCAR memorabilia, and just kind of going through it and just seeing all that nostalgia and hearing about the times they ran at places like North Wilkesboro back in the day, and your Rockinghams and everything like that, and just hearing those old names of Cale Yarborough and Red Farmer and Buddy Baker. Like, it's just it's always a great nostalgic feeling to go back to all that stuff.
Just peeking in here to the youtube.com live chat, we're first going to look here to the 24 of Richard Pruitt. And the paint scheme was picked out by Shane Lake from the Big Dog, of course. He says, do his eyes deceive me, or does he see a 1999 Jeff Gordon All-Star car? Yes, you would be correct, sir. The Jeff Gordon Superman All-Star, that's just a cool paint scheme in and of itself, that's for sure. And Shane says he sat beside me twice, and because the side piece you take on Springer. That's fair. So basically, it's my work wife, Matt Metler, on a Sunday with me, and then I work alone on Mondays and Tuesdays. Then I had Shane a couple of times, and he suddenly wanted to be my work mistress, and now you're like the extra work side piece is what it is. Everybody likes hanging out with Dave. That's all I know.
Well, you see, the thing is I was put in an eternal state of dibs, and then that was ripped out from me. So, I believe I'm the rightful heir to that.
I mean, look, everybody needs a hobby, as it looks like some of our audio may be. Callie, can you tell me which one of the announcers' mics is quieter and which one is louder? Callie H is in the live chat telling us that something is quieter, and I'm trying to identify which one it is because they both seem okay on my end.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to adjust a little bit here to try to help out once I read that.
I think I just fixed it because you adjusted, over-adjusted, and now you've corrected. Now I've corrected it.
Awesome.
How's that, Callie? Let us know how it sounds. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here on the youtube.com live chat. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones. And, at this point in the race, Dylan Banks with a 3/4 of a second lead over Nolan Hodgson. This is the closest that we've seen anybody to Dylan Banks in over 100 laps now.
Yeah, and it's crazy to say that under a second is a super close gap, as if he's right on the rear bumper. But, I mean, based off of that open, this is the closest thing for him all night.
Oh, and we are under our first caution. Looks like Ken Ron may have bit the bullet here. We'll take a look and see what happened with him as we go right to the replay screen. We're going to look from above. Here's Ken Ron. He rubs the outside wall, comes back to the inside. Thought he had it. Oh. No,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of those unfortunate things. You think you got it saved, and it just kind of comes around on you rather quickly and just kind of throws you. It's hard to catch a slide, especially in this car, in my opinion. I was really good at it in the Gen 6, but once you kind of get that slide, it somewhat snaps on you.
Yeah, especially at a place like this. You're not moving crazy fast, but at the same time, dumb things are going to happen to you as we're going to take one more look at this here. And here comes Ken down the back chute. He might actually wind up hitting our cameraman if he's not careful. There he goes.
Yeah, and it's also could be a thing with the brakes as well. You start hitting the brakes at the wrong point of saving it and kind of getting the car even more upset, and you're just along for the ride.
Well, that's going to probably end Ken's night early as he quickly tows on back to pit road. Not a whole lot of takers, though, for tires so far. Chris Claude and Michael Caffrey coming down now. Dylan Banks going to stay out here as our race leader. He's going to be joined by Nolan Hodgson on the front row. First caution of the night for cause. We had nothing during the first race. We went 100 laps on a short track. On a short track, 100 green flag laps. That's impressive in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely, because, you're so close. You got elbows out. You're fighting loose. You're fighting everyone around you. It's really easy to just kind of have a miscalculation or a misjudgment and kind of cause a slide or a pile up rather quickly. But, I look for Hodgins to try to get a jump with the 70 of Banks and really kind of make a run because, he's sticking really close to him and he's really kind of giving him a fight for his life. He can't kind of slack off at any point in this race as that pace car makes a hard left turn. Dylan Banks gets a massive run out, leaving the other two competitors behind. 12's going to fight on the outside, trying to get back into that second place spot by himself. Not going to clear him here. Dylan Banks is out for the run.
Dylan Banks leading this piece now, but they are side by side are Sean Rogers and Nolan Hodgson here running for 2 and 3. Sean Rogers tucks in behind Hodgson once again as those guys, listen, they race against each other every week here in this league. Dylan Banks does the same, but I feel like I say Hodgson and Rogers or Rogers and Hodgson more than almost any other combination of drivers in this league.
Yeah, he's really kind of just a class of his own with this, but Nolan Hodgins is really kind of giving him a run. Sean Rogers sticking around a lot more this time around. Sanner finding his way right there. These guys are really showing a lot more speed than they were in that open and definitely figured these things out.
Getting it figured out right now is Keith Long in the 71. He's working just over top of Tanner Marty as we're going to ride along with Keith Long here. And we can see just to his left, there's Tanner Marty. Thank you, camera operator 1. As we look down here at the TJM 29. And I'll tell you what, Keith Long is going to be working his tail off for a very long time if he doesn't either, beat off Tanner Marty and get in front of him, or if he tucks in behind him and just says, all right, I'll wait until you work your own stuff out.
Yeah, and that outside line is not a fun line to be in. You got to kind of check up a lot more. You got to be careful with your runoff, and he made the right choice in kind of backing off and letting him by and have to run him back down here.
Take a look here in the YouTube.com live chat. The rack and pinion steering is much less forgiving. Still one announcer loud and one soft on my end. Gail Reams saying the same thing. Dave is naturally softer than Jordan speaking-wise, so it happens. Well, then, now that we can see which one of us is quieter and which one of us isn't, let me just go ahead and bump this one up right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How does that sound, ladies? As Gail and Callie are keeping us honest as far as audio quality goes. I just happen to be, nice and polished, and, I thought that I was being quiet. But apparently not.
How do you feel about
Racing
Shane?
Brought to you by NPR. Mark Johnston registering as having crashed here. We go under caution on lap number 33. We'll see what happened with Mark here in the 80. As he's rolling out of 4, we're going to watch. Oh, where you go? Wow. Something just snapped from the 24. Oh, my. We're going to watch that again from his perspective. So here's Richard Pruitt. We're going to watch just ahead as he's over top of Mark Johnston. I don't know what in the world that was. Was it Johnston coming up or Pruitt coming down?
To me, it looks like the 80 kind of has a hard right turn there for me. I don't know if maybe when he got back to throttle, he was a little loose and a little out of control. And then once he thought he was good, gave it a little more gas and ended up into the side of the 24.
We're going to see if we can get this right from the nose of the 80. This is Mark Johnston. Yep, there it was. He went to reach for the gear, and it didn't go so well.
Yeah, no, not at all. As soon as he grabbed that gear, it decided to kind of pull him to the right, and just, the 24 was just a passenger in that.
36 laps in the books tonight. Want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the youtube.com live chat. And Shane just said that he saw the man on the backstretch. Callie H cheering on the number 12. Apparently my microphone adjustment worked out.
Yeah, and the man on the back, it's just so weird. He's not there for me, but he's there for you.
And obviously Shane could see him too. Well, see, now they can see what I see at home. Amanda Price cheering on Sean Rogers as he's currently running in P3. So some of our biggest fan bases here are also cheering on the 2 and 3 cars on the scoring pylon. As when we go back green flag racing, nobody came down pit road this time. At least it sure appears that way. As race control going to be calling it for Dylan Banks. He'll be our race leader. Nolan Hodgson. What in the world is going on? Nolan's not the leader. They're going to have to get that sorted out momentarily. But it should be Dylan Banks, Nolan Hodgson, Sean Rogers, Chad Sanner, Seba Cornez, Michael Witt, Tanner Marty, Eric Papineau, Chris Davis, and Keith Long, your top 10.
Yeah, I feel like Hodgson's playing a little bit of mind games possibly by trying to just edge out there and be a little in front of the 70 here, saying, I'm here.
That's for sure. As Hodgson still lined up here, the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means we'll be going back green flag racing. Dylan Banks gets alongside of Hodgson. Banks hits the Geico restart zone, wastes absolutely no time, and off we go.
Yeah, I think he catches these guys a little by surprise because that restart zone's still kind of out at corner exit, so it's a little scary to kind of just mash the throttle there and keep it straight because you're still kind of turning a tad bit. So he definitely knows how to fire off from that position, and these other guys are going to have to figure that out if they want to kind of jump him there on that start.
Taking a look here at Nolan Hodgson from the roof of Sean Rogers, as now we can see that number 12 being stylized in corn. I kind of like that. I shouldn't even say I kind of like that. I really like that. As now they go single file here. Sean Rogers, Nolan Hodgson, Dylan Banks, 41 laps in the books. And, I mean, it's hard to call anything too early in this race, but I think we're just going to see these three guys beating the bejesus out of everybody. As we look further back here, we see Tane Hodgson in the 93. He looks to the inside of Chris Davis in the 74. Our fan favorite, as Davis suddenly becomes the meat in this sandwich. He looks to the inside now of the 71. Something's got to give here for these drivers as we work here on lap number 43. Now Hodgson splits the difference and gets in front of Chris Davis, and now leaves the 71 of Keith Long high and dry. As wow, he almost has to avoid the 17 of Eric Papineau. Suddenly Tane Hodgson driving like his life depends on it.
Yeah, he's a man on a mission right now, but One thing I want to point out is I'm really surprised to see these guys going as 3 wide as often as we have. In the open, I saw it, 2, 3, maybe even 4 times. You see it here now. Like, these guys are not afraid to push it 3 wide at a small track like North Wilkesboro.
The interesting thing is you see these drivers that take it 3 wide, and somehow they do it safely, and our last couple of cautions have basically either been single or double car wrecks. But the 3 wides, don't worry, we've got this one, boys.
Yeah, I don't know how they have it choreographed out right to where they get that off well, but I mean, it seems like the only thing we have to worry about for these cautions is when somebody gets a tad bit loose and someone else is there, or they just lose it off corner trying to save it.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, I mean, this is like some Fred Astaire stuff. I mean, they are dancing around here on air. As we take a look at Seba Cornez, driver the number 59, and Cap Toyota Camry, there's another random person standing on the backstretch. I can't believe you can't see this. This is actually starting to be kind of funny.
Yeah, no, they're not there for me. I haven't seen any balloons, and I haven't seen any weird, strange men. So I'm starting to wonder if your comment about legal weed here, I'm starting to wonder about you up there.
That's not legal here in Pennsylvania just yet, but thankfully I voted for the governor that says he's going to get that job done. As Michael Witt now works his way on the high side of the 93 of Tane Hodison. This is suddenly turning into quite a little knot of cars as we're going to look from above in our blimp cam to see if we can get everybody into the same frame. 5 cars battling it out for what they want to be Seba Cornez's position. Now Tane Hodison slips on by and leaves this to be a 3-car battle behind him. Not so fast, my friend, says Lee Corso, as Tanner Marty tries to get up here behind the 93 of Hodison.
Yeah, and I saw Hodison get a little loose off that corner. It kind of gave me a little bit of a scare. I kind of made one of those noises for myself, like I'm the one driving it.
Yeah, there's nothing. You know that you're fully engaged in a race when you're making the moves and when you're making the sounds that you would be if you were behind the wheel. As we take a look, speaking of behind the wheel, Keith Long down 4 positions after qualifying in P7. Now runs here on lap number 52, back in 11th spot. We're approaching lap 100. We're just about we're a little over halfway there. The iRacing.com pace car driver just kind of hanging out there at the end of pit road. He doesn't really want to have to go out and do anything. He's kind of enjoying himself, getting ready to watch, getting settled in here to watch the race, sipping on a nice cold Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and we see Hodgson's fall back a little bit off of Dylan Banks. I wonder if it's saving or if Dylan Banks has kind of metaphorically found another gear here and able to kind of gap. Oh, we see the 12 get a little loose off corner there.
A little bobble there. I don't see Nolan Hodgson bobble very often, so when I do, it takes me a second to let that register in my brain.
And I think that just shows you how difficult this car is to drive and how on edge they really are. If someone like Hodgson's is having a little bit of difficulty, a little bit of squirrely moments off corner and everything like that.
We're going to look right here on Rogers' car. Watch how high up. In fact, let's see if I can just drop this camera down here. Watch how high up that front splitter comes off the ground when he's on the throttle. And he has this thing almost perfectly tuned because that front splitter is now hovering just, fractions of an inch above the asphalt.
Yeah, and getting that thing sealed off is the greatest thing for you. You find some speed and you can really kind of drive it the way that you want to drive it, and you find a little bit of downforce and something to help you turn the corner a little bit better, and anything to help you turn and kind of hold that bottom line is going to be an amazing thing for you.
We're going to spin this wheel around. We're going to watch Hodgson work here as we're looking to see if maybe he's got a little bit of a loose condition. No, he's just about right. He's just about neutral, but as we can, of course, now as I say that, he's going to turn right to go left, coming down the back chute. But not really having to work that hard to keep it, pointed in the proper direction.
A little bit of a ka-chow moment, but, it's nothing that these boys haven't been able to handle most of the night.
No, and for you folks that tune in every week, I mean, you're used to hearing these names and seeing these things. As here we go. Let's see. Big Dog Sean Lake. Is that 17 a DW throwback to his Budweiser days? You know what? I didn't even think about that. Is that our second DW throwback? That's as close as it's going to get, that's for sure, Shane. I was more looking at the number 88 Gatorade car that was floating around earlier.
Yeah, I don't mean to put a number on you guys, but I couldn't tell you.
That one's close. That one's close. Either the 17 or the 88. And to have two Darrell Waltrip paint schemes out here is just enough to make my heart all warm and fuzzy. It's either that
see,
or
I know that
stroke.
one.
I'm a big dude. I could have a stroke at any minute. It wouldn't be a surprise. You have to understand.
No, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to keep a perfect professionalism around you.
You have to understand, when I eventually stop breathing and sucking in oxygen on this earth, I want people not to walk up. I don't want them to walk up to my casket and go, "Oh, he looks so good." No, I want them to be. I want them to be like, "Geez, I can't believe he made it this far."
I mean, I'm sure people will say that about me. I mean, I'll probably say it from my grave that I'm surprised I made it that far, but I always said I wanted to be buried face down so everybody can kiss my you-know-what one last time.
That's fair. That's fair. I want to be comfy. That's all. That's.
I'm sure I'll be comfy.
Yeah, I don't want to wear pants. Dylan Banks leads the way with a 1.8 second gap over top of Nolan Hodgson. Sean Rogers runs P3, Tane Hodgson in fourth. 65 laps in the books. We're about 35 to our stage break. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight here during the All-Star race for the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series. Once again, thanking everybody for tuning in, and the Allen Experience checking in. We'll see all of you in just a few moments.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, What you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
So hi, my name's Christy. I'm a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. As like during the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't sit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that, so the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Dylan Banks leads the way here at the All-Star race with almost a 2.5-second lead over Nolan Hodgkins. Really kind of running away with this one as he did before, but, doesn't seem to be having a struggle like he did early on. Oh, just see the 17 get a little loose back there. But we don't see him really kind of struggling there and being under fire like we were, early on in this race.
Yeah, Dylan Banks is here in the 70. He leads this piece 1, 2, 3 with Nolan Hodgson and Sean Rogers. They have not switched all night tonight so far. Tane Hodgson runs in P4. He's up 7 positions from where he had qualified back in 11th. And Hodgson, for a while, was running. We should have called him Tane Hodgson because he was hot and heavy running through the field. As Tanner Marty runs in P5, Chris Davis in 6th. A couple of drivers down some laps now. Mark Johnston hauls it down pit road after he had an incident earlier on this evening, so he may be getting some more repair work done. As it looks like the 94 of Chad Sander just had to let Dylan Banks on by. He's got the 71 now of Keith Long behind him. That's going to be a battle for position later on in this race. About 8 laps to go this time by before the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and they're really, I think, going to have to swing these adjustments rather drastically to really compete with Dylan Banks here. I mean, the more and more this race goes on, the more and more he makes a gap. And, I mean, it's down to 2 1/4, but that, he was dealing with a little bit of lap traffic there, so... once Hodgson starts going through that traffic as well, I'd expect to see him grow that distance even more. But you're really going to have to throw more than just a wrench at it, in my opinion.
Well, and there's a lot of drivers who are going to have to throw a lot of stuff here at Dylan Banks to see if they can make it stick. As we work lap number 94, Dave Riegel and Jordan Brockel with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And, here's the thing. As I sit here and I think, if I, the driver, Dave Riegel, were out here on this racetrack, you know what I would do right about now? Get out of the way.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if I myself was on the track, I'd already be out of the race by now. But I'd just get out of his way. I mean, he's a bullet. He's just flying, and he keeps on growing more and more of a gap from Nolan and Sean Rogers, and I mean, we're not seeing the full separation like we were seeing that he had in the Open, but I mean, we're kind of creeping into that territory where he's starting to kind of basically just disappear from the windshield of Nolan.
Yeah, and that's not what Nolan Hodgson wants to see. Is we are, speaking of which, let's take a look here. At this point, he does look like kind of a speck out there. You can just see that red bumper as he disappears out of turn 2 and down the back chute. Nolan only gets to see him on turn 1 or turn 3 entry, and then that's pretty much the end. As we work lap number 98, just about halfway through this piece for these drivers. As that lap 100 is coming up quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, and Dylan Banks is going to run to this stage break with no contestant or nothing. He's going to come across the line here, winning the stage, just waiting on that 10th place car to cross and bring out the caution. But I think to really compete with him, I think you're going to have to get him on this restart. You're really going to have to jump this restart to the point where you really have to kind of stick with him and kind of put him in a position he hasn't been in all night, including the Open, where he's going to have to defend a lot harder.
Yeah, now we're expecting to see that caution flag having flown for the end of this stage, according to race information that we had gotten earlier. There it is. Better late than never here for caution number 1 in the All-Star race. Dylan Banks holds up as he's going to let the iRacing.com pace car rip on past. Now he can get caught back up here as the pace car is going to be between 3 and 4. Dylan Banks, Nolan Hodgson getting back in the line. It's been a while since I've seen one another, and Dylan Banks already diving down pit road. So I'm guessing that pit road just simply opens early here because of how short this track is.
Yeah, I mean, it really threw us for a loop in the Open. We thought he was going to end up being in the back and not really contesting for that win anymore. But yeah, it opens up a little earlier. They can dive on in, get their service, and I wonder if later on, if we get a late race caution, if we see Hodgson's maybe try to do a two-tire stop or something of that nature to try to get it off sequence with Banks, and maybe try to find a way to jump him with strategy.
Well, let's see what happens here. Hey, Dylan, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Sir, what's up, Dave?
Hey, man, listen. Obviously, you ran a clinic during the first race, and now here you are in race number 2. I mean, tell us how you find yourself up here. I mean, you're amongst two of the greatest drivers in this league so far. The three of you, combined is scary. What's going to be the strategy? Same deal, just keep pushing?
Yeah, I think so. I was honestly just running my pace there. Wasn't even saving really, was just pushing my pace. Tires really good. And I was able to get out ahead of Nolan by 3 seconds. So I think having this clean air and just staying out front is the key. With having a stage breaking 45 laps, I think that's the key, is staying out with that clean air.
Yeah, I mean, you've got another break coming up at lap 150, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
So that being said, this is suddenly going to be a really short shootout, which should probably tighten things up for that last 50 laps of the race. When you're all tight, I mean, when you're up there cruising and you're just running your race, as you had said, how does that feel? And do you get a little bored until you start lapping cars again?
Not really. Honestly, I'm just running my pace up here. Always focusing, no matter what's going on, no matter how far I'm ahead. Always got to keep that focus, because one slip up and you could slam into the wall. That's your race. So you want to keep that focus, that attention, see what the other guys are doing. But yeah, honestly, just keep my head on the swivel.
All right, my man. Well, listen, get that head all oiled up so that you can swivel it around pretty quick here, as the iRacing.com pace car is getting ready to dump you guys off.
Thank you, sir.
As we slide him back up into the DGR race chat, Dave Regal with you here alongside Jordan Brockel. The iRacing.com pace car hauls it down pit road. Dylan Banks drops the hammer, and Nolan Hodgson and Sean Rogers have nothing that they can do but watch.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so hard, because one of these times he's going to get one of those restarts where he doesn't go as soon as, he's in the box like he has been, and someone's going to catch a penalty for that, and it's just so hard to time these guys. You really just have to be in the mind of Dylan Banks, and I mean, no one's been able to be close enough to even be in his same zip code, let alone his own mind.
Yeah, Sean Rogers quickly falling back in the line behind Nolan Hodgson. And look, I've watched these guys all season long, and something tells me that they're waiting it out. I mean, Nolan and Sean are two of the most talented drivers, Dylan Banks being another one, as he just laid fast time down at 18.71 seconds. And, something tells me that they're saving something for the end. Whoa, as Chris Davis, our fan favorite, just goes sideways out of 4, maybe getting bit by the cold tire bug. He gathers up the race car and stays in front of the 17 of Eric Papineau, a lap car.
Yeah, and I've spoke about it a couple times. Just having to watch these tires, you don't want to use them before, or don't want to lose them before you can use them. And I definitely feel like someone in this field, mainly those top 3, maybe even Tane Hodgson, has to be saving something, because I feel like Hodgson's alone has been able to run faster, if not the same times as Dylan Banks. So I feel like there's someone that's got to be kind of waiting in the wind to make a wow. As Chris Davis gets really loose that time around, he's going to end up getting a bump by the 17. Somehow they keep him straight.
That could have been a fatal mistake right there. As we look back here to where now the 17 is running just over top of the 29, and that's Tanner Marty. Of course, the 17 a lap down right now, as he's more than a lap down. I mean, it's not just that he's a lap down, but he's got to get his way up here to Chad Sanner to try to get that lucky dog position. As Dylan Banks leads this piece, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, Sanner has been fast himself all night long as well, so it's going to be a tough challenge to get around Sanner, let alone, get anywhere close to some of these other guys.
Seba Cornez here in the 59, as Cornez just ahead of Eric Papineau now, as Papineau still trying to recover himself and get up here to start competing again on the lead lap. Papano's got to get his way all the way up to Chad Sanner, and Sanner in the 94 is, quite frankly, on a different planet, even though that he's a lap down. I mean, he's up here running around Tane Hodison. He's definitely got that lucky dog spot, secured right now. If the caution came out, he would go right back on the lead lap and suddenly start, would be giving Hodison fits over that position.
Yeah, and I look for him to, get around, maybe get a little further up and definitely be kind of secure in that lucky dog spot. And hopefully, for his sake, he gets it because he's showing a lot of speed here later on. And, fighting with Hodison right here, that just shows that, he's got top 4, top 5 speed.
He does, and Chad Sanner, like I said before, he usually, only winds up in positions like that, not at his own hand, but usually at someone else's hand. So he's up here competing alongside Tane Hodison here on lap number 118. Amanda Price cheering on the 44 of Sean Rogers, who we were just riding along with, as all of a sudden Chad Sanner gets ready to go side by side with Tane Hodison. And Shane Lake telling us that, pit road opens usually on that first lap. On that first lap of caution, unlike everywhere else where you usually have to wait until the second lap before it opens.
Yeah, where you usually have that massive, what feels like forever pacing notification above your head, where you're just like, I just want to come down pit road, especially when you're on a fuel strategy and you're almost out. It definitely kind of gets you a little worked up and frightens you a little bit.
Yeah, someone who isn't frightened, though, is Dylan Banks, who still leads this race now by 1.2 seconds over Nolan Hodgson. Just got around yet another car here, and I just lost it there. It should be the 54. There he is, Michael Caffrey. So Caffrey here in it's kind of a combination paint scheme here. It looks like it's almost the Hunt Brothers pizza scheme from, of course, the old number 4 days of Kevin Harvick, and then he's still got Bosch right on the front. But Dylan Banks still out here leading, as Tanner Marty and Seba Cornez are going to be exchanging positions now, as Seba takes away 6th position from Tanner. Again, points don't matter in the All-Star race, but at the same time, it's bragging rights. And to say that you're the winner or a top 5 finisher here in the All-Star race, you're racing against literally the best in this league.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely also helps with confidence, If you came in here and you're out early and, or you run just poorly and, you're getting lapped, it's gonna really kind of hit the confidence a little bit. But if you can come in here and still walk away with, a top 5, top 6, you're gonna feel really good about yourself. You're especially looking at the competition that's ahead of, someone like Seba right now, where you have Sean Rogers, Hodgson's, and Dylan Banks just kind of in a league of their own, for lack of better terms. And, it's got to do a lot for confidence coming into, next week.
Yeah, and, the other thing that it does is it keeps your focus, driven for next week as well. Sometimes you see guys who take that week off, for the All-Star race, and they, all of a sudden when they come back, it's like they got a little rusty, just, which is, you would think is strange because it's only 1 week, but, you spend 1 week out of these cars and, all of a sudden you're corroded. You're not just rusty. For me personally, I strapped on the wheel to my desk after, taking the old racing rig apart a few months ago, nearly a year ago now. And, when I put everything together here on the desk, I thought, okay, this will be fun. And I went out in the public servers and thought, oh my God, everything is different.
Yeah, and I mean, so I run a league on Mondays, but, to keep the wife happy, I do every other week. And I can tell you, I'm having some of the hardest times at racing in my life, just trying to get back in a groove that you kind of stopped having, because you're going every other week. And, it's really hard to just kind of get any kind of momentum because you're breaking that streak each week.
He said, as he said, hey, honey, this is a silent memo that if you'd let me, I'd race every week.
Oh, 100%. I'd spend every day on this thing if I could. But, I have children. Well, child. Can't say children. So, you know, I don't want to be one of those fathers where I'm in the basement all day long.
Believe me, I get it. This thing consumed me for a long time, where I was racing and broadcasting, and thankfully I was directed, hey, listen, maybe you should just consider the broadcasting part because you're awful at the racing. And here I am, happier than ever. And
Yeah,
like I said, the minute that I put the wheel back here on the desk and I was like, I'm going to do this, was like the biggest red flag reminder that I don't belong on the racetrack anymore.
Yeah, my woman has not gone to the lengths of telling me that I'm bad at it yet. She's still in the you got this, you can do it phase, but I'm sure eventually
it'll
I'm
come
gonna
to an end.
I was like, I'm sure I'll get hit with the, you're not really good at this.
Yeah, thanks for spending all of this money. Maybe you should just stay with this microphone bit. As we watch the 88 of Michael Witt now falling back toward the clutches of the 93, we suddenly have a three-way battle for fourth position as the 88 of Michael Witt being overtaken by not yet, almost overtaken by Tane Hodgson. There it comes. Side by side, they go down the front stretch into turn one, all but making contact. They're door rubbing coming through 1 and 2 as Hodgson fires out of 2 and down the back chute. He's still neck and neck here with the 88.
Yeah, and honestly, Seba's just sitting there like, guys, can we figure this out? Because he is all over the back bumper of both of these drivers.
Yeah, this is a situation where now even Seba's getting ready to go side by side here. We'll go up here to the blimp and take a look at this because, my God, Seba is just kind of floating here, waiting, as you said. Oh, makes contact with the 93, sends Hodgson down the racetrack, gets a run here on the 88 of Michael Witt, and then there were two in the battle for fourth.
Yeah, and for Seba, that outside line is not a safe line to be in. Not for like position wise, but just driving and handling it as is. You're a little more loose. You kind of have to be careful on your on throttle, your off throttle, your braking. You have to be really careful because, that thing can step out from under you in a heartbeat, and you won't even know what happened. You'll just kind of be staring at your steering wheel like, what even happened there. So he just needed to get off that top line and set sail behind the 88 here of Michael Witt.
All of this going on, this battle here for fourth position, while Dylan Banks leads by 6/10 of a second over Nolan Hodgson. And then Hodgson has 3.3 seconds back to Rogers, and then this battle rages behind Rogers. It's interesting to know that this is all going on while Dylan Banks is in clean air, just, passing time by with 10 laps to go in this segment of the race.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Hodgson is actually showing more and more strength. Of maybe Dylan Banks has backed off a little bit or what, but he's definitely closed in on him, and it's the first time I think I've really seen anyone run him down necessarily. He's still got 0.6 of a second, almost 0.7 of a second of a lead, but that's the first time we've seen anyone really kind of close the gap on Dylan Banks all night long.
Seba Cornez swinging up behind the 88 of Michael Witt, but Witt still holding him off. Seba getting a good entry, but just not good on exit, so he's still trying to figure that one out as we work lap 143 of 200, working our way toward lap 150. Michael Caffrey coming down pit road. He's going to get his service early as Dylan Banks paces the race now. And as we ride along here on the rear, looking back at Nolan Hodgson, Dylan Banks has nothing but space and safety in and around him.
Yeah, and he's got that 12 starting to feel that rear mirror a lot more larger than it has been all night long. But he's running out of time, and it's going to be basically on this restart, I think, for Nolan, that he needs to find a way to kind of guess what Dylan's going to do, if he's going to leave early, if he's going to hang back this next restart, or what the call may be for Dylan. But I think the restart's the best case to kind of get around Dylan, and then you just have to play defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to hold somebody off than it is to overtake them. When you're sitting here and you're just, at this point, clawing your way around them, just trying to hold on for dear life, with now 3 to go this time by in this stage, I think you really hit the nail on the head there with Nolan. I mean, he's got to get out and he's got to stay out.
Yeah, and I mean, I almost kind of thought maybe Nolan would have dove down, take that pit early. I don't know if they have a closed pit window or not, but I definitely would have thought he would have found a different strategy than the 70 there to try to kind of get off sequence and kind of have fresher tires just to get in front of him. And be in front of him for the restart.
As they come out of turn 4 and head back toward the start-finish line, they'll cross here at lap 150. This is the final lap of this segment of the race. Chris Davis runs P9 right now. He's our fan favorite from earlier. Taking a look at the YouTube.com live chat, the Allen experience. Listen, Allen's wife has got to be a saint for putting up with as much time as he spends on these servers.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's the caution. So at the caution here, the final the final competition caution, Dylan Banks comes across the line first. Nolan Hodgson, Sean Rogers, Seba Cornez, Michael Witt, Tanner Marty, Tane Hoddison, Chris Davis, and Keith Long, your top 9. They're all in the lead lap. Chad Sander going to get the free pass. He'll be our lucky dog when we go back green flag racing. Let's see what happens as Dylan Banks comes around here. Obviously, we're going to see them suddenly tighten up and hit pit road.
Yeah, and I think Nolan needs to stay on the rear of that 70 as hard as he can. They're sharing that 1 and 2 spot, and just try to just give him any kind of just a millisecond of extra time to get by Dylan on this exit.
We're going to get a chance. We had a segment of time earlier where we talked to Dylan Banks. Now we're going to get a chance to talk to Nolan Hodgson, as he's going to get his pit service almost simultaneously with the 70. So as soon as he drops down here, we'll have a chat here with Nolan. Follows Dylan right off a pit road. Hey, Dylan, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
You got Nolan.
Nolan, listen, here you are running P2. Now, we were just sitting here trying to strategize for you. What's going to be the move that you try to make here in this final leg of the race?
Well, honestly, take the same approach I did the last stage. Hopefully try to speed it up a little bit. Get that. Maybe let him go for a little bit on the short run, but try to get him on the long run. I felt like I was catching him there at the end, and I just ran out of time. So hopefully I can, because this is the same length as it was the last, section. Just speed that process up a little bit quicker. Hopefully I can make a move.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him dominate in the open race earlier, so now we're just curious to see who it's going to be that's going to put the biggest amount of fear into the heart of the 70. I mean, you definitely closed in faster than anybody that we've seen all night long, and we're just curious to see what you're going to do this time. So good luck the rest of the way, my friend, and hey, maybe we'll see you on the other side.
Hope so.
Nolan Hodgson just seems, every time I talk to him, he's never angry. He's just very even-keeled.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just sounds so calm, cool, and collected. Really focused. And, like he said, he's got a strategy in mind. And, he's kind of going off of how the last run was. And he knows that, he needs to maybe pick it up a little sooner or, drive a little differently in different parts of this segment. And I mean, he's got a game plan, and I mean, if it's anything like the end of that last stage, I think he might give a little bit of a headache there to Dylan Banks.
As Dylan Banks and Nolan Hodgson lead us down the back chute, we're going to ride along with Sean Rogers this time around and watch this from behind, because Dylan Banks is going to have control. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. Dylan hits the loud pedal, and Sean Rogers is trying to knife his way underneath Nolan Hodgson. As we are back, green flag racing in the final stage, the final segment of the 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series All-Star Race.
Yeah, and I mean, now Nolan is under fire from Rogers, and these guys are a lot tighter than they've been most of the night. And I mean, Seba is kind of not necessarily out of nowhere, but just kind of come from out of nowhere, in lack of better terms, and just kind of really putting his car where he needs to.
Yeah, Seba Cornez qualified in P9, runs right now in 4th, and it's almost like he's overdriving that turn. In fact, let's ride along here with Seba. We're going to see just how he's entering here. It just seems like he's entering a little too hot because he's not able to stick it down there and wrap that corner as you had talked about earlier.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still showing a good fire off, but I think like we were talking about, if he can really wrap that corner, like the 3 in front of him, I think he can really kind of pull off a better run off the corner and try to get to the inside of Rogers there before they reach the corner.
Nolan Hodgson just laid fast time down at 18.56 seconds here on lap 161. 40 to go now in the 2024 All-Star race, as Nolan Hodgson is assaulting Dylan Banks and just can't get up there. He's got 0.3 of a second between himself and Dylan, and Dylan just running away with this thing as Dylan Banks leads us here on lap 162.
Yeah, and I mean, I wonder if this is where, how Nolan was talking about kind of letting him go a little bit. Kind of letting him kind of run his own race and let Dylan kind of maybe work up the stuff a little quicker than Nolan will, and maybe kind of capitalize on where worn tires on Dylan.
We're going to get a chance here. I'm going to try to get a hold of Alan to see if he can. He said that we can interview his wife. This could be interesting. As we work lap 164 of the All-Star race here at North Wilkesboro. We've talked about it, and it's kind of interesting where you see some things that start in the real world and become digitized, kind of like, the Madden NFL games and of course baseball and all the other games that we play online. But this sim actually went the other direction, where North Wilkesboro went from on the sim to in real life. In a relatively short period of time, there was a consortium of race car aficionados, we'll say, led by Dale Earnhardt Jr., that got this track revived not only here on iRacing.com, but also in the real world. And so it kind of went the opposite direction and did a lot for our sport.
Yeah, 100%. And for someone like me who, I've worked around late model stock cars, and I've been around the car store a little bit, and been in that scene, to see him come in and basically revitalize the late model stock car on this platform as well. I mean, I can attest to that. That car sounds and drives just like it does in the real world, and he basically made stock car, late model stock cars, the popular thing. That I know numerous of people who started picking up the Cars Tour on Flow Network. You see the 44 get a little loose there off corner coming out of 4. He's going to hand that spot over to Seba.
Yeah, he just handed that over to him like Seba brodied him for his lunch. My goodness, that's not going to make Rogers very happy, but that also puts Seba in the crosshairs, and you have to wonder if Seba can hold off Sean Rogers now for the next 30 laps.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, and Sean Rogers has been in that 3rd spot pretty much the entirety of the night. The 1, 2, and 3, I mean, they haven't really switched any positions the entire night. So it's weird to say that 4th place is an odd position for Sean Rogers to be in right now.
Well, and toward the end of so many races in our league here, I mean, we've seen Sean Rogers do this time and time again, where we see him up on top of the pile, and it just so happens that tonight, not so much, and that's not like him, so to speak.
Yeah, this entire top 4, top 5, they seem really tuned in to how the cars run and what they need, and they don't seem to ever really make a mistake. And it shows how costly it is with this top group that Sean Rogers gets a little loose off corner, and now he's fighting to get back to Seba here.
Well, and let me tell you how strong of a driver Rogers is. Rogers right now in the point standings sits P2, right? He just crawled up into P2 out of third position. He and Nolan Hodgson both leapfrog Patrick Gitter, who of course is absent from tonight's race. Sean Rogers and Nolan Hodgson both sit in second and third position in our point standings with no wins whatsoever.
Yeah, and I mean that's a consistency. Consistency is always key when it comes to racing. I mean, I know win and get in IRL, but the consistency still has to be there for you to even capitalize on those wins. So to have consistency and stick in that spot without a win shows that that they're even stronger of racers.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, as we get deeper into the night, these drivers, the cream is going to rise to the top. I mean, we're here on lap 176, and Nolan Hodgson is suddenly all over the rear bumper of the 70.
Yeah, and like he said, he's going to give him some time, kind of let him run his own, race and kind of wait to turn it up. And, it seems here now he's at least turning it up, maybe not all the way up to 10, but, up to 8 or 9 right now.
Well, right now it goes Dylan Banks, Nolan Hodgson, Seba Cornez. 1, 2, 3. Dave Regal with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth alongside Jordan Brockel, as we are here in the 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series All-Star Race live from North Wilkesboro. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us tonight. As I'll tell you what, Jordan, this has been a heck of a race.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it just shows the competitiveness of this race when someone hasn't lost the lead all night, but it's still an exciting and interesting race. I mean, you're watching Nolan run down Dylan all night. You see Sean Rogers fall behind Seba. Now he's running to catch him up, catch him back, and there's battles all throughout this field, and it's it's exciting and truly fun to watch.
20 laps to go this time by at the line. As I'll tell you what, these drivers aren't ready to give up just yet. In fact, Seba Cornez and Sean Rogers just exchanged positions again. Let's take a look and see what happened with Rogers as he got around Seba. As we come down the back chute, Sean just simply looks to the inside of Seba. Oh, gave him a little nudge and sent Seba up the racetrack and just got on by. If I was Seba, I would be madder. Whoa. I'd be madder than a Keebler elf getting demoted to Fudge Packer.
Yeah, he's definitely going to put that in the bank and definitely think and stew on that one for the next 18 laps, and maybe even use his bumper a little bit more here in the next 17.
Amanda Price in the YouTube.com live chat saying, "Let's go." Obviously, she wants to get Sean off the racetrack and back over there with her, so the sooner that he can wrap this thing up. And he's got to start making some kind of a distance move here because he's 5 seconds behind Nolan Hodgson. Dylan Banks and Nolan Hodgson separated by just 1/2 of a second. I'm afraid that Nolan may not have enough for Dylan.
Yeah, no, I think Dylan was kind of laying back just a touch, and once he realized that he had to go, turned it back up. Nolan's stuff's going to kind of heat up a little quicker because he's already pushing. So now Dylan's just kind of using what he was saving to try to kind of gap him a little bit here. You can see he closes in a little bit in corner entry, but Dylan Banks gets good runs off and kind of able to keep the gap.
Chris Davis, our fan favorite, runs P7 right now. He was, of course, voted by you folks in the YouTube.com live chat. And speaking of which, if you haven't done so already, Brandon Bike says that Sean's coming home to him. That's cute. Just threw me completely off of my game. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for Sim Racing Media so that you can be notified every time we go live here. And in fact, if you check it out, he went into third place. Well, fine, whatever it is. Whatever helps you get through the night. As we want to take a peek here at some of our schedule with 13 laps to go. Tomorrow night, of course, will be me right here on Sim Racing Media with SNN at the Xfinity Series at 7:40 p.m. Actually, that's going to be 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Alan Bergen and Daniel Paulus Jr. will be covering the SCL Series at 9 p.m. Then Tuesday, we have Racers Elite at 7:35 with John and Rick. Myself in the SNN Truck Series right here at 8:10 p.m. Then the Extreme Series at 9. Tuesdays is a busy night with a nightcap at 10:20 p.m. Roughneck comes to us live on Wednesday with Angel and Alan. Then Racers Elite back again at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday with Mike. Then the Extreme Cup Series is at 9 p.m. on Wednesday with Liam and Jordan. The Racers Elite returns on Thursday one more time in the Cup Series with myself and Daniel Paulus Jr. So Dave and Daniel once again on Thursdays. Then Friday night, we've got nothing. It's nice and quiet. Saturday heats up once again with ISNF at 5:30 p.m., and that's a three-person booth with Liam, Mike, and Alan, and then ECR on Saturday night at 9 p.m. with Liam and Emily. Then, of course, Sunday night, we will be right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel for the SNN Cup Series. And as I say that, I realize how exhausted I am. Oh, Roughneck is in the off-season, so we will not have Roughneck. Thank you, Alan. As we take a peek at our schedule here, next week we'll be doing the Coca-Cola 600. So settle in, everybody. It's going to be a long one, that's for sure. Live from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hey. I just had a vision of me putting my head directly through the desk.
That's going to be a long one.
Then, of course, actually, tomorrow the Xfinity Series is off, so I get a weird off night in the middle of the week.
I mean, it's always nice to have an off night every once in a while. You know, kind of catch your breath.
Well, yeah, that helps. The Truck Series in this league is always the weirdest because it mirrors the real-life Truck Series. So we'll be at North Wilkesboro on Tuesday night. Then next Tuesday we'll be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then the following week, June 4th, we go to Worldwide Technology, or Gateway, which Alan's going to be joining us for. He's been salivating. And then 3 off weeks before Nashville Superspeedway. Then another off week. Then 2 weeks, one at Pocono, one at Lucas Oil. Then 2 more off weeks. You know, it's just a whole bunch of off weeks built into the season for the Truck Series. With 5 laps to go here, we don't have that kind of time in this league at this level here in the Cup Series. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones or however you may be tuning in. We appreciate it. As I got to be honest, I'm staring down the barrel.
Before getting
boy,
burn there. Whew.
They're
Some
up
beating and
against
banging
one
back
another.
here.
The 74 and the 88. Chris Davis challenging the 88 of Michael Witt as they are just hammering one another. Shoves Witt out of the way. 3 laps to go. Dylan Banks is now running away from Nolan Hodgson, but the battle hot and heavy back here for 7th and 8th position.
Yeah, and that's Dylan Banks does not want to see the yellow. He's in such a command. He does not want to give anyone a chance to even try to get to his bumper. So he's just hoping to see that white flag come when he comes around and set sail on this win.
Speaking of which, the popsicle sticks are down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Dylan Banks has dominated 2 races tonight for a total of 300 laps. He has led here at North Wilkesboro as he hauls it down the backstretch. Nolan Hodgson, trailing him now by 1.5 seconds, has no chance at catching Dylan Banks as Dylan rolls out of turn number 4, captures the checkered flag, and wins the 2024 Stacy Strong Cup Series All-Star race here at North Wilkesboro.
And I mean, an absolute just dominating night for him. And like you said, I mean, like he ran 300 laps tonight. And I mean, I don't know how many of them he didn't lead, but I could probably count them on my hand.
What a night it has. Whoa, as he gets quietly spun out, congratulatory style, I hope. I don't know what everybody's doing here, but it looks like Dylan Banks maybe wanted to do the Polish victory lap.
Yeah, it seems a little bit of a stack up there.
Let's see if we can get a hold of Dylan Banks here as we get everybody down to the chat. Going to try to get a hold of Sean Rogers. We'll put him in here. Now we're just going to find Dylan Banks. There he is. Hey, Dylan, it's Dave and Jordan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, listen. What a run you had tonight. 300 laps, and you led all 300 of them between the two races.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Nolan. That was a blast. He had me worried there in the second stage. I'm not gonna lie. I was really, really tight. Couldn't figure out why. But first win here at SNN, and thank God. It's been rough the last couple months I've been here at SNN. I had a winning car at Bristol, the first ever race I did here, and just messed up on my end. But so grateful to be here in Victory Lane with Tanner here, and shout out all the DGR guys. They deserve this one just as much as I do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you put on a clinic, and I mean, I watched you. You know, you guys here atop the pile all night long. We're just putting on a show for the fans at home. I mean, you know, no points tonight, but I mean, as we look deeper into the season, of course, next week we're staring down the double-barreled shotgun of the 600. I mean,
yes, sir.
That one makes me nervous. What are you thinking as we get ready to go run the 600?
Honestly, I'm just trying to translate this race here into next week. Never ran Charlotte before, never ran this track either before this week. I've maybe ran like 4 races here this week. I'm still pretty new to the sim. I've only been on for about 6-7 months now.
You're freaking kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw my headphones across the room.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah, I'm still new. Learning every day, learning something new every day.
Still new, but he led 299 laps out of 300 tonight.
For crying out loud. You just have a couple of very big haters now. You sit 15th in points. I mean, when we come back next week, of course, the 600 is always good for points. It's always because it becomes an endurance race. You know, guys dropping out because they make mistakes and so on and so forth. What's going to be the mindset when you strap in for 600 miles?
Oh, man. It's honestly, it's about patience, honestly. The 600, that's the longest race of the year. Just staying patient, running your pace, trying to be there at the end. I think that's what matters, honestly. It's an endurance race. I'll put it at that. It really is. 600 miles, long way to go. Just strap them buckles in, run your pace, and hopefully be there at the end. Hopefully you'll be in victory lane by the end.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank for this run at North Wilkesboro?
Oh, man. A lot of guys. First of all, shout out y'all. Shout out y'all's broadcasting. Y'all do it's a blessing every week in and week out. Y'all do an amazing job up in the booth every week. Shout out EPI and Donovan Strauss, always making these ripper sets for the A-Car every week in and week out. Wouldn't be nothing without them. Shout out the guys at DGR, Tanner Marty, Ken Ron, Dalton Mobley, Alex, all them guys. They put in the work week in and week out. And I also want to give a shout out to Nolan there. That was a pleasure racing with him. He kind of gave me a run for my money there at the end. He was giving all he could. And lastly, I want to shout out the guy that does my paints, Chris Tinsley at Turndown Productions. Wonderful job that he does on the paints. But yeah, main shout outs to y'all guys. Y'all do an awesome job week in and week out up in the booth.
All right, my man. Listen, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. As I believe, Jordan, that you should have with you now down on pit road, Nolan Hodgson, driver the number 12.
Nolan, it's Jordan and Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Yeah, you gave everything there. You know, you pushed hard. You got to his rear bumper. You know, did you just kind of use the stuff up, or you know, what went on there towards the end of that race?
Well, I kept true to my word. I started that run saving tire and whatnot, but then I noticed that Dylan was also saving more tire than he had on the previous runs. And at that point, it just became a chess match. Looking back on it, I think I should have just went ahead and made a move, because there was a few laps where I probably could have, but I chose not to. But towards the end there, I mean, we were running almost mirror lap times. It's just the dirty air here. It's impossible to do anything once you get, past 40 laps, 35 laps. So that one corner coming out of 4, I tried, getting on the gas a little bit more than I probably should have, slid the tires a little bit, because, I mean, what else can I really do? I tried, going wider, and I didn't have the front turn for it in my car, so I just had to sit in line. But yeah, dirty air, it's just a big chess match.
Yeah, and this isn't a points paying race. It is the All-Star, but it's still you're still running a race to try to win. What does that a second place finish kind of do for you going into next week? You're going to the Coke 600. It's going to be the longest race of the season. What does that kind of do for your confidence and your motivation and your mental for this?
Well, I mean, honestly, as good as it is to finish second, I mean, it kind of sucks considering I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't able to execute. I mean, Dylan was fast, but I feel like I could have made a move at some point in the last run. But we move on to the Coke 600 here. Historically, I've been pretty good at Charlotte, the oval. So I mean, it still does feel good to finish second, and we'll see what we can do in the 600.
Well, I want to wish you luck for that, but before I let you go, is there anybody you want to shout out to?
Yeah, the sponsor is 0FG, Grayson Payne Racing, 18 Media. My parents who let me do this, my grandparents are also watching. The EPI boys for supplying the great setups, and the 4Wide motorsports guys who, they back me up, and they're great teammates.
Well, congratulations and good luck in next week's Coke 600.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan and Nolan. As always, it's good to hear from our drivers down on the racetrack. And last but certainly not least, this evening, driver the number 44, Sean Rogers. Hey, Sean, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you doing?
I'm all right. Listen, you had that Chevrolet cranked up as hard as you could, but nobody seemed to have anything for Dylan Banks. How does it feel to be P3 here right now?
You pretty much just said it. I did not have anything for him. He had a really fast race car, so congrats to him on a hell of a race. But yeah, I had a third place car, and that's where I finished, and that's about the best you can do. Shout out to all the guys at BMP putting this car together. It was quick. I just didn't quite have the short run speed that I needed, but all in all, I had fun. Like it was no points or anything, so it's fun to get out here, mix it up with the guys a little bit.
Yeah, the one stat that's really hanging in my head right now is that Dylan Banks just told Jordan and I that he has like 6 or 7 months on the server.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that. I've been out here for 3.5 years, so
yeah, I struggled for 3 years before I decided that I was going to be a full-time broadcaster.
Yeah, he must. I don't know him that well. He might have some real racing experience because to come up to be that quick soon. Yeah, he's probably raced karts or something.
More than likely, but listen, I mean, you still tried to give it your all tonight, couldn't, and you fall short. However, it's always nice when you look there in the live chat and you've got people who support you. And speaking of which, who do you need to tip your cap to? Who helps you get it done on Team 44, and who do you need to shout out?
Shout out to all the guys at BMP. We're a really tight-knit team, and we definitely help each other. And then Kenny, he builds all the sets, Kenny Coppola. So shout out to him. Shout out to Amanda for watching every race and supporting me. And shout out to you guys for putting out a good broadcast. I look forward. I'll go back and watch this one back and try to see my race. So, yeah, that's all I have to really shout out.
All right, my man, congratulations, and we'll see you next week at the 600.
That sounds good, guys.
Well, Jordan, another one in the books here, a special one in the books at North Wilkesboro. What do you think for your first night here with SNN?
I mean, these guys show a lot of professionalism. You know, they don't really run each other, dirty. They run each other hard, but they keep it rather clean, and it's a enjoyable league to watch. A lot of great talent. I mean, for somebody who's only been on the sim for 6 months to go out and lead 299 of 300 laps across 2 different sessions. That's insane. I mean, and we heard Sean and like talk about his time on here. He's been on here 3.5 years, and Dylan Banks is showing that give him another 6 months or a year, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Banks is one of those guys that we do end up seeing somewhere around the Pro Series or even in the Coke Series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always interesting when you get to see some of those different levels come together in these leagues. I mean, that's something that you obviously can't see in the public server. So being able to see it here, in a private league is always exciting for anybody when you can mix so many different talent levels and skill levels together. So a big shout out to our race winner tonight, Dylan Banks, as he comes across the start-finish line after leading both races flag to flag. Dylan Banks brings home the 2024 All-Star Race checkered flag here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Nolan Hodgson and Sean Rogers join him on the podium as they fell short, while Tanner Marty and Chad Sanner round out your top 5. Seba Cornez, Michael Witt, Chris Davis, Keith Long, and Tane Hodison round out the top 10, while Eric Papineau comes home in 11th. Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Chris Claude comes across the line 12th position, while Michael Caffrey and Mark Johnston finished 13th and 14th. 15th on the field tonight was Richard Pruitt, while Dillsburg, Pennsylvania's very own Ken Ron comes across 16th position after just 19 laps, as he had himself a rough night. But what a night that we had. What a good night that we had covering this event, Jordan.
Oh, yeah, it was a wonderful night, and I feel pleasured to be able to work next to the great Dave Regal. But, I mean, just to watch these guys get out here and run and race and mix it up, I mean, it's always fun to kind of venture off into the different leagues that we cover here on SRM, and really see the talent across this entire platform.
Absolutely. For myself, Dave Regal, here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and my partner Jordan Brockel, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight and making us a part of your evening. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, thank you for welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones right here on Sim Racing Media. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.